Chapter 3190. Annuaires whereabouts. Countless trees were also cut in half. The scene was extremely shocking. 90% of the half-step saints who had ambushed the 5 lightning lotus were dead. This caused the remaining people's expressions to change drastically. They never thought that the final lightning tribulation would be so terrifying. Crack. Crack. At the same time, the sound of the eggshell cracking could be heard. This caused the nearby area to fall silent. Did he fail to break through? Someone said. Someone let out a low growl, and his eyes turned red. So many of them had died. If that person did not fail to break through, they would not be able to accept it. Boom! Before the crowd could finish their thoughts, the huge eggshell completely exploded. Then, it scattered on the ground like endless glass. At the same time, a slender figure with a bare upper body walked out with a large sword in his hand. He was dripping with blood. One could even see the remnants of lightning on his body. However, he was like an Asura demon king. With just one look, everyone's hearts trembled subconsciously. What a terrifying person. Right, we're going to the demon city. Let's go. The people who were still nearby immediately laughed dryly. Since they had failed to stop him, they definitely wanted to leave at this moment. Whoosh! However, just as they moved, a blood sword slashed at them, cutting through the sky. Those people's heads itched as if something had passed through them. Blood, I'm bleeding. What happened? Why do I see my own feet? Then, a series of exclamations sounded because those people's heads had fallen to the ground. The most terrifying thing was that after falling to the ground, those people were still screaming. A moment later, they died in panic and pain. Senior, please spare us. There were 2 people who were lucky enough to survive. At this moment, they were so scared that they knelt down. There was only deep regret in their hearts. They thought that with their master around, even if they attacked, they would be safe and sound. However, they now realized that that was just wishful thinking. Sir, they are still immature. Please spare their lives. The sect leaders of the various sects also hurried over and looked at the Asura demon king with reverence. That was because they could feel a sense of fear from the latter's body. Young Master has broken through 2 stages and reached the 5th layer of the half-saint realm. Do Kening looked at the topless young man in shock. They don't know any better, but don't tell me you don't know any better. The young man finally said in a cold voice, I'll give you a chance now. Kill them yourselves, or else. Otherwise what? Hearing this, all the sect leaders' expressions changed. They wanted them to kill their own disciples. Otherwise, you will die. The young man shouted coldly again. The word die caused the sect leaders of the various sects to tremble. Although this young man was only at the 5th level of the half-saint realm, the dense killing intent on his body gave them the feeling that even an early-stage saint realm expert wouldn't be a match for this young man. Master, don't. Hearing Lin Ling's words, the 2 kneeling people completely panicked. Sai, why did you have to interrupt other people's breakthroughs? The sins of heaven can be forgiven, but the sins we bring upon ourselves are the hardest to bear. The experts looked at each other and sighed. His words caused the faces of the 2 men to turn incomparably pale. Their master and their sects were going to sacrifice them. Because of the sneak attack earlier, their sects had chosen to acquiesce. However, now that they knew that this young man was not to be trifled with, they immediately became scapegoats. The experts from the various sects felt extremely bitter. How could they feel good about killing their own disciples with their own hands? This was also a great humiliation. However, what else could they do if they didn't kill them? They could only say that they shouldn't have held on to the thought of getting lucky and interrupting other people's breakthroughs. This was because this wasn't an ordinary half-saint realm expert. Don't blame us when you go to the netherworld. Die. Finally, someone made a move and slapped the two men's heads. The sound of bones breaking immediately rang out. Naturally, the two men died with their eyes wide open. Only after they died did they realize that jealousy was the cause of death. Can we leave now? After killing their own disciples, those experts said dishearteningly. Leave your treasures behind and scram. However, the young man said indifferently. You. Hearing this, the experts' expressions changed. They had killed their own disciples with their own hands and had already suffered great humiliation. Yet, the young man still wanted them to hand over their treasures? Clang! The young man didn't waste his breath and raised his sword. The large sword was surging with demonic energy, and the demonic energy was practically about to materialize. I'll give it to you. With just a glance, they immediately lost the will to fight and handed over all their treasures one after another. The bitterness in their hearts grew even stronger. Since you're already very close to the demon metropolis, why don't you go there? That's the world of the top experts in the 9 prefectures. Moreover, precious treasures have been discovered there. The various powers in the 9 prefectures are also clashing with each other. There's the ancient demon clan, the heavenly court, the mansion of gods and demons, and even the land of eternal rest and the celestial temple. I heard that the saintess of the celestial temple seized a precious treasure and is now being besieged by various experts. One of the old men said gloomily. He seemed to be reminding Lin Ling, but in fact, he wanted to send him to his death. This was killing with a borrowed knife. Of course, even though he said that, he didn't hold much hope because unless this young man was an idiot, who would dare to go against the big shots of the 9 prefectures? Say that again. However, Lin Ling's pupils constricted. His words scared the old man and he quickly said, over there, the great powers of the 9 prefectures are clashing. You're saying that the saintess of the celestial temple is being besieged by various experts? Lin Ling's voice became more and more anxious. Well, I've only heard about this because the demon metropolis has 6 sacred objects left behind by the demon emperor. One of them was seized by the saintess of the celestial temple. Moreover, that sacred object seems to be extremely precious, so all the experts are targeting the celestial temple. However, the celestial temple is now running for its life and can't stop the big shots from all sides. The saintess is also doomed. TSK, I've heard that the saintess is extremely beautiful. With your strength, the treasure and the beauty should belong to you. The old man said nervously, but his eyes quietly flickered with coldness. He was obviously trying to lure Lin Ling to his death. Whoosh! However, just as he finished speaking, Lin Ling killed him with a slash. Moreover, he glanced at the afterimage and immediately advanced. Obviously, how could Lin Ling not know his intentions? I'll treat people how they treat me. Lin Ling never showed mercy to those who wanted to harm him. Lin Ling. Seeing Lin Ling and the old man disappear, the people from various sects were all stunned. Then, they stared at the dead old man and sighed softly. Their disciple died because of jealousy, and this old man secretly sowed discord because of his disciple's death. In the end, he also died. It could only be said that they had provoked someone who couldn't be underestimated. Young master, are we going to save the saintess of the celestial temple? At this moment, Doing was following Lin Ling. He noticed that Lin Ling's expression was extremely serious. Chapter 3191. Senior sister Yu, I'm here. Yu, has appeared and is in danger. No matter what, I have to save her. Lin Ling spoke word by word as he stared ahead. In the dense forest, it was as though he could see a woman who had disappeared for a long time. In the ancient Yen sect, an Yuer was the first person to help Lin Ling. In the Heaven Mystics Kingdom, during the Yin clan's calamity, Lin Ling was also the first person to help an Yuer. Their hearts and bodies were already tightly bound together. It was like this in this life and the next life. However, that saint lady obtained a precious treasure, which attracted the attention of various elders. If young master went to help her, I'm afraid things would be very troublesome. Furthermore, the demon young master is definitely looking for young master and the heaven court. In addition, young master told me previously that he met someone who controlled the dead souls in the Green Prefecture. That was the resting place of the 9 prefectures Vicious 10 and had the inheritance of the Netherworld realms 10 Netherworld devils. Young master had killed one of their people, and they will definitely notice young master and ultimately harm young master. The most important thing is that Inuer that young master mentioned. Although she saw young master previously, she didn't even recognize young master. I'm afraid she will also harm young master. Do Kening continued to speak because his mission was to protect Lin Ling. No matter what kind of storm or what kind of experts from the 9 prefectures, I will save Inuer until death. However, Lin Ling's eyes were still resolute, and his words made Do Kening sigh. After knowing Lin Ling, he knew that Lin Ling was a prodigy with superior talents and temperament. However, Lin Ling had a huge flaw, which was that he valued relationships. Of course, from a certain point of view, this was also an advantage. As they advanced, a huge ancient capital appeared in the haziness. The ancient capital seemed to be hidden in the darkness, and from afar, it looked like a giant demon god lying on the ground. Legend has it that it was left behind by an ancient demon emperor. There was also a sacred item of the demon race in the demon metropolis. The demon metropolis was huge. At this moment, the quiet city was filled with experts from all over. These experts had followed the big shots of the 9 prefectures here to search for treasures in the ancient capital. And in the direction of the eastern city, a large number of martial artists were besieging a tall tower. One had to admit that everything in the eternal forbidden forest was very mysterious. As one of the most mysterious places in the forest, the demon metropolis was no exception. The power of a saint was actually unable to overturn this city. As a result, the experts from all sides besieged the tower. They could only kill their way through one step at a time. Everyone, let's work harder and get the sacred object. The godly bodyguard mansion will reward you handsomely. This holy object was left behind by our heavenly court. It was actually snatched away by the witch from the immortal temple. We must take back this holy object. Right now, Immortal Temple is facing off against Divine Weapon Manor, Ancient Fiend Race, and the land of eternal heroic spirits experts. That witch doesn't have anyone to help her. She won't be able to escape even if she grew wings. Everyone unleashed their ultimate techniques and attacked the high tower. The tower began to sway, but it didn't fall. The winding staircase leading to the high tower was also packed with people at this moment. Many people were filled with anticipation for the Fiend Emperor's holy object. And at the back, more and more experts joined the battle. At this moment, on top of the high tower, a woman was standing by the window. Her cold and emotionless eyes were looking at the bottom of the high tower. This woman was very beautiful. She was dressed in a white dress and looked like a fairy whose white clothes were whiter than snow. However, she was too cold. She gave people the feeling that they could only look at her from afar and could not profane her. And there was a swastika mark between her eyebrows. It added a hint of holiness to her otherworldly aura. She was expressionless, but she was worried because she knew that the Immortal Temple's immortal monks were all blocked by the experts. The ones who attacked were also the 9 provinces' 10 evils. Therefore, those immortal monks couldn't rush over in time. And when she was snatching the holy object, she was also seriously injured. Otherwise, she wouldn't have let those ants besiege her. Her jade-white palm was holding an object tightly. Although she didn't know what the Fiend Emperor's holy object was, she knew that it was a treasure that Immortal Temple had to seize. For this, she didn't hesitate to sacrifice her life. Is no one coming? She let out a cold voice. She gathered the power in her body and prepared to fight to the death. "Senior sister, I'm coming." But at this moment, a roar that sounded like a dragon's roar sounded from afar. It even brought up layers of sand as it directly charged into the fiend metropolis. That voice made the woman in white's heart tremble for some reason. That voice was very familiar, as if she had heard it somewhere before. But when she thought about it carefully, she didn't know this person in her life. She only remembered that she grew up in Immortal Temple. She was a saintess since she was young and had sacrificed everything for Immortal Temple. Rumble. The rumbling in front of her became even more intense. A bare-chested youth holding a large sword swept over like a fierce dragon. This unforeseen event naturally caught the attention of the powerhouses who were besieging the tower. "Brat, everything has a first-come first-serve. If you want to seize the holy object, you have to line up." Behind the winding steps, a tall and sturdy man shouted coldly. He actually thought that the person who came was also a treasure snatcher. Hearing this, the face of the woman in white on top of the high tower turned cold. It turned out that another person had come to steal the treasure. "Die." But at this moment, a cold voice sounded. A sword that seemed like the era of gods had arrived. Whoosh! In front of the steps, a large number of warriors were killed by the sword. Blood spewed out as heads flew. "Brat, what are you doing? Are you violating the agreement? You actually attacked your own people." The experts who were attacking the tower were all enraged. They had clearly reached an agreement long ago. They would first seize the holy object and then fight among themselves, because if they didn't get the holy object and the experts from Immortal Temple arrived, everything would be for naught. That was why they were united. But now, someone had taken the initiative to violate the agreement. "Fuck you." Lin Ling, who came from afar, didn't say anything and directly shouted coldly. Not only did his words make the experts furious, but it also made Du Aftershadow's expression change drastically. Young Master's words were so shocking that they wouldn't stop until they died. That was because he could clearly see that there were many experts here. There were half-saints and saints, and there were even a few who were not weaker than him. But the young Master was only one person. How was it possible for him to kill his way through the layers of slaughter? The young Master is indeed a real man. He's angry for a woman. Then, when he saw Lin Ling charging forward fearlessly, he couldn't help but secretly admire him. Whose disciple is this? Are you tired of living? At this moment, another sage shouted angrily. Kill him. More people were ready to move. In their opinion, it was simply a fool's dream for one person to fight all of them. Sword, come. However, Lin Ling still didn't retreat. He held the Tyrant Song sword tightly. He looked at the high tower and vaguely saw Annuer. After disappearing for so many years, he finally found her. How could he retreat? Whoosh! The blood sword slashed out. The 60% demonic sword and the fusion of the four dantians turned into a sharp sword. Rumble! That sword cut the weapons in the hands of countless experts. That sword cut off the heads of countless experts. That sword cut through a large number of powerful martial arts. Chapter 3192. Against a group of heroes. This sword shocked the world. One had to know that there was a barrier around the tower. Ordinary attacks couldn't even cause dirt to rise, let alone leave a mark. But now, a sword mark had appeared. This person isn't an ordinary fifth-layer half-saint. Exclamation point. A saint cried out in alarm. In fact, there was no need for him to say anything, because behind the stairs, a large number of people had already died. If they weren't beheaded, then their bodies were split in two. The sharpness of this sword was unparalleled. It was truly terrifying. Little friend, why don't you join us? Exclamation point. Another expert spoke out. He knew that it was better to be friends with such a powerful expert than to be enemies. Damn you, today, I'm here to save the Saintess! Exclamation point. Unexpectedly, not only did Lin Ling refuse, he even slashed out with his sword. This sword was like a stone that stirred up 1,000 ripples. This meant that Lin Ling was an enemy. Perhaps he was someone invited by the immortal temple. Instantly, the way everyone looked at Lin Ling changed. If they were angry at the beginning, then now they were surging with killing intent. If they didn't kill Lin Ling, they wouldn't be able to snatch the treasure from the Saintess of the immortal temple. A fierce battle erupted like a storm in the demon metropolis. Everyone, this person isn't on our side. I think there's no need to be merciful. An old man in a monk's robe took the lead to speak. This person looked benevolent and had the demeanor of an immortal. However, on his shoulders, there was a faint shadow of 2 heads. This shadow was exactly the same as the old man's. He was called Demonic Monk Troubled Times. According to legend, he was born as triplets. However, when the 3 brothers were born, they were in a cave without any food. In order to survive, Demonic Monk Troubled Times ate his 2 brothers alive. In the end, he caught the eye of Demo Dragon Fong and was accepted as a disciple. In the end, he became a demon whose name shook the 9 provinces. After he spoke, those famous figures in the 9 provinces nodded one after another. This old monk will go first. Demonic Monk Troubled Times was also the first to attack. He silently chanted, and a black light flew out from his neck. It was actually a string of Buddhist beads. However, if one looked carefully, that string of Buddhist beads was actually made from human hair. The Buddhist beads grew larger in the wind and emitted traces of chilliness as they suppressed Lin Ling. At this moment, Lin Ling stomped on the ground and shot forward with the speed of 70 worlds. He brandished the sword in his hand with an unstoppable sharpness. No half-saints could stop his sword. The fusion of his 4 dantians, in addition to the 60% completion of the demon sword step, was indeed terrifying. And at this time, the Buddhist beads enveloped Lin Ling in the air. Suddenly, a strange feeling appeared in Lin Ling's heart. It was as if he had been sucked into a wonderful world. No matter how he turned around, he would never be able to leave this world. He couldn't help but raise his head. He knew that a saint-level elite had made a move. It was clearly quite difficult for him to go against a saint realm expert with his current strength. At the same time, in the world of the Buddhist beads, endless Buddhist chants drifted about. The sky was filled with black skeletons, their hollow eyes staring at Lin Ling. All kinds of mysterious power also lingered around Lin Ling's body. Puff! This caused Lin Ling to immediately spit out a mouthful of blood. He knew that it was a soul attack. Although the opponent's soul wasn't stronger than his, with the help of the evil chi of the Buddhist beads, it had obviously greatly increased the attack power. This wave of suppression had undoubtedly weakened Lin Ling's momentum. But his eyes were still resolute. In his mind, the young girl from the ancient face sect appeared. If he didn't save her today, he wouldn't be human. Rumble. Lin Ling's soul rushed out crazily, causing countless Lin Lings to appear in the world of the Buddhist beads. It was difficult to distinguish between the real and the fake, and no method could see through them. What? The demonic monk's expression changed greatly. At their level, most of them had the magical ability fiery golden eyes. They could easily see through ordinary doppelganger techniques, external incarnations, and other martial arts. But he couldn't see through the method used by the naked youth for a moment. Young Master, East. Right at this moment, a roar resounded in Lin Ling's ears, and then a sharp cold light flickered in the void. One of the Buddhist beads cracked and finally exploded. This was a fatal attack from the afterimages. Lin Ling naturally seized the opportunity to control all the illusions and charge out of the gap. At this moment, All the big shots outside had indifferent expressions and disdainful smiles on the corners of their mouths. The demonic monk had made a move, and they believed that a mere half-saint Realm Jr. was dead for sure. After all, the demonic monk was favored by Miao Prefecture's Emperor Miao, and he was once invited to Miao Prefecture to be a protector. This showed the demonic monk's strength. But at this moment, a rumble resounded, and the world of the Buddhist beads shattered, and a figure seemed to have escaped from the underworld. Next, a second one. A third one. Countless figures charged out one after another. This caused everyone to be shocked. How could this be possible? A half-Saint Realm Jr. actually escaped the attack of a Saint Realm expert? Die. The young man that charged out was like a god of death bathed in blood, and he would kill anyone who stood in his way. A sword that seemed to have come from the era of the gods surged with demonic energy, and a huge illusion of a headless old man descended to the ground. He held an ancient sword in his hand, and his robe fluttered. Although he was headless, he seemed to have seen through the universe and returned to the era of the gods. The sword slashed out from his hand. Swish! Demonic energy bloomed, and it was boundlessly sharp. The sword seemed to have formed the boundary between the 9 prefectures and the underworld. Ah! Save me! Stop him! A terrifying thing immediately occurred. After the line of life and death was slashed out, countless lives were killed, and then a large number of experts erupted with their ultimate techniques and formed powerful attacks to resist the line of life and death. However, the sword still pushed everyone back, and it caused their faces to be filled with terror. Who the hell is this guy? Swish! In the end, the thousands of cultivators that blocked the sword were all split in half, and the sword finally dissipated. The ground was covered in corpses, and the city walls were dyed red. Even the sky seemed to be dyed red. Those who stand in my way, die. However, the blood-soaked young man's steps were as firm as before as he shot towards the tower. He is the son of a demon. Everyone finally saw this young man, and some of them even recognized his origins. Son of a demon? That mysterious youth that stirred up the winds and clouds of the divine dreamland and nearly destroyed the gods? Even more people were shocked. So what if he is the son of a demon? If he says he will kill, he simply doesn't place our 9 prefectures in his eyes. In my opinion, his goal is the monster emperor's sacred object. Saving people is only an excuse. However, as everyone was surprised, a voice filled with monstrous killing intent echoed out. The one who spoke was a middle-aged man. He seemed angry, but his eyes were icy cold. And he was the Sky Province's celestial emperor. His words caused everyone to calm down. As they thought of the monster race's sacred object, their eyes turned red. This sacred object belonged to them. So what if he was the son of a demon? If he dared to steal the sacred object, he would be killed without mercy. Kill! Kill! Chapter 3193. Fight to the death. Celestial Emperor. Celestial Emperor. Looking at the sinister Celestial Emperor, Dou Kenying's expression was extremely ugly. Originally, when the name of the son of demon came out, people were a little afraid. However, the Celestial Emperor's provocation made people's greed sprout again. Then, he looked at the sky full of experts attacking, and his expression became incomparably solemn. One had to know that many of the experts attacking were not weaker than him. In addition, there were so many of them. How could Lin Ling block them? Young master, why don't you retreat first? Celestial Emperor. Dou Kening said anxiously. I won't retreat. Celestial Emperor. However, Lin Ling refused directly. He gripped the sword in his hand a little tighter. He was already prepared to fight to the death. Rumble. The space-time divine steel began to descend, resisting the attacks of all the experts. The illusion god's true inheritance also erupted. Moreover, the step of the demon sword was once again ignited. Lin Ling, erupting with all his strength. Heavenly Dragon Protector, good karma increases day by day. With the Emperor's help, Bodhi will not retreat. With the help of gods and ghosts, a night of peace and joy. After all the trump cards were used, the dragon god roared and shot out 3 arrows. Heavenly dragons intertwined as if Buddha had arrived. Rumble. Almost at the same time, the attacks of all the experts arrived and collided with Lin Ling's ultimate techniques. Puff. 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 The powerful attacks made Lin Ling spit out 3 mouthfuls of blood. His body also made cracking sounds. His bones were constantly broken, but they were also rapidly recovering. His footsteps retreated 3 steps in succession. With every step he took back, blood continued to drip from the ground. And all his attacks were blocked, making it difficult for him to take another step forward. "Huh, son of demon, you're dead today. Torture him to death." Ugly smiling faces were unreservedly displayed at this moment. Many people were even thinking that if they could kill the son of demon, they would be considered a little famous in the 9 provinces. Sigh, son of demon, why? The 9 provinces' 10 immortals temple is a demon temple. Why sacrifice your life for a woman? The demon monk of troubled times let out a long sigh. However, the Buddhist beads in his hand did not stop as he continued to suppress Lin Ling. Even though his words sounded like he was feeling sorry for Lin Ling, there was a cold light in his eyes. Boundless power suppressed Lin Ling, making it difficult for Lin Ling to move an inch. He even felt the smell of death. His blood continued to flow, and his bones continued to shatter. His dantian was even more dried up. However, his fighting spirit did not diminish. Young master. At this moment, Do Kenying's eyes were red. He wanted to help, but obviously, there was nothing he could do. Senior sister At this moment, Lin Ling raised his head and looked at the distant tower. He could vaguely see that familiar figure. She was Lin Ling's woman. If he couldn't even protect his own woman, then how could he talk about martial arts? How could he talk about revenge? How could he talk about being a man? Whoosh! The wind blew up Lin Ling's long hair and cut Lin Ling's face like knives. This made him feel for the first time that the wind was so cold and the sky was so oppressive. Lin Ling had not encountered such a moment of life and death for a very, very long time. "Ants like you want to kill me?" However, Lin Ling laughed. His expression was incomparably arrogant. At this moment, he seemed to have thrown away everything. He only had one goal, and that was to save Anuer. "You think you can stop me with such methods?" His arrogant voice drifted across the entire demon metropolis. After hearing this, everyone was enraged. This son of the devil was about to die, but he was still so arrogant. However, just as they were about to erupt, Lin Ling roared. Roar! A dragon rushed out from his body. A huge heavenly dragon soared into the sky with its head wide open, looking down at the world. Swept by the dragon's head, all the martial artists felt uncomfortable in their hearts. It was as if all the sins they had committed in their lives had all emerged at this moment and attacked their hearts of martial arts. Dragon race's 8 divine abilities, Heavenly Dragon Protector. The demon monk of troubled times cried out. He never expected that this half-sage junior would actually possess all kinds of methods from the era of gods. The path of karma is forever eradicated, all tyrannical extermination. At almost the same time, the voice of divine might drifted out again. The dragon bow that had disappeared before also descended. The 4th arrow was shot out crazily. The 4th arrow. In the distance, all the afterimages immediately sucked in a cold breath. Lin Ling had shot out the 4th arrow of the great solar calamity bow. At the moment of life and death, he had actually shot out the fourth arrow. No, that should be the effect of the nether dragon companion fluid. After the fourth arrow was shot, the Buddhist Dharma was boundless. Together with the previous 3 arrows, it suppressed everyone. Everyone had a feeling of prostrating themselves in worship. Soon after, their hearts trembled fiercely. This was because with so many of them suppressing one person, that person could still resist. And while they were shocked, a powerful force pushed them back, making it difficult for them to resist. "I'm here to bring you home." Looking at Lin Ling again, he walked forward with steady steps. Although each step was extremely difficult, he never retreated. "All sages, attack. Young friend, you're the most stubborn madman I've ever seen." The other sages who had been watching the show finally decided to attack at this moment. And these sages also had admiration for Lin Ling. One person against the world. For his lover, for his confidant. This kind of martial artist was very stubborn. If he didn't die, he would definitely become a great person. Unfortunately, today's position was different. No matter what, they absolutely wouldn't let this youth live. Rumble. An even more terrifying power erupted, forming waves of light that finally converged like a huge blazing sun to drown Lin Ling. Young master. Seeing this scene, Do Afterimage's eyes quietly moistened. On top of the tower, the white-clothed woman's willowy brows were tightly knitted. In another direction of the demon metropolis, the stronger experts' faces slightly changed. Among them was the demon metropolis young master. At the same time, a woman stood in the south of the demon metropolis. She frowned and looked in the direction of the tower. She never thought that she would see Lin Ling here. This made the corner of her mouth curl up into a sneer. She was Longnyang. Without a doubt, today's demon metropolis was illuminated by the son of the devil. No one thought that they would be able to see such a great battle in the demon metropolis. "I said before, I must bring you home." Facing the attacks of all the sages, Lin Ling's face was still without fear. His left hand stroked the huge black sword box behind him. The moment his palm touched it, his face revealed a nostalgic expression. "Old friend, with my current strength, I can't activate you guys at all. However, today, all of you will have to fight. Even if I have to waste endless life, I must bring her home." Finally, Lin Ling heavily slapped the sword box. Rumble. As if the divine sword was activated, the 18 true dark swords flew out, ancient and sharp. This was Li Xiaoyao's sword. It had reached the level of a divine weapon and was even more terrifying than a supreme weapon. This was an item used by the gods of the era of gods. Ordinary people couldn't activate a divine weapon at all unless they used endless life force. Even Lin Ling was no exception. Unless he reached the martial ancestor realm. Chapter 3194. Longnyang had made her move. The power of the godly sword and the whistling sound in the sky caused the expressions of the various big shots to change. This was because they felt that the holy item of the demon metropolis was not as precious as the godly sword. What was the background of the son of the devil? Why did he have the sword of the gods? They never thought that while they were snatching the holy item, the real treasure was right in front of them. Boom! 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 The 18 true swords intersected in the sky and spewed out an ancient power. They slashed continuously and actually broke the combined attack of the various experts. Boom! 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 Even the demon metropolis was slashed apart. Although the ancient city walls were protected by a barrier, they could not withstand the sharpness of the sword. This caused mud and broken bricks to fall from the sky like rain. Looking at the mud rain, a determined figure was still moving forward. His footsteps were unsteady and his gaze was fixed on the tower. It was as if everything in the world had disappeared. Around the tower, the aura of death spread out. More than 80% of the experts had died. No one could withstand the attack of the godly sword. This person is crazy. On the other side of the demon metropolis, the young demon lord muttered to himself. Because he was very clear that the price to control a treasure that exceeded his own strength would be huge. The son of the devil was using his own life to control the sword of the gods. And all for a woman. Pa! The footsteps continued to sound. Although it was weak, it was like thunder in the hearts of the crowd. They did not dare to move. Even though they saw the sword of the gods return to the black sword case, even though they knew that the son of the devil might not be able to use the sword of the gods again, they still did not dare to act rashly. They could only watch as the bloodied and pale man walked up the winding stairs step by step. At this moment, there was only reverence in their hearts. At the top of the tower, the woman in white stood there quietly. However, her eyebrows were tightly knitted. Clearly, her emotions were rippling. She had never thought that there would be a day when a man would kill everyone in the world and not hesitate to give up his life for her. Who was this man? Pa! After an unknown period of time, the sound of footsteps came from the highest room. Moreover, a weak figure walked in with difficulty. However, when he saw the woman in white, Lin Ling smiled. His smile was extremely radiant. That smile was very clean and pure, as if the big brother next door had arrived, giving the white-clothed woman a sense of protection. I'm here to take you home. Lin Ling's soft voice drifted out of his mouth, but after he finished speaking, blood continued to flow out from the corner of his mouth. For some reason, this scene caused the white-clothed woman's heart to ache. However, she didn't know this man at all. Don't come over. The white-clothed woman frowned and finally spoke. I'm here to take you home. Unfortunately, Lin Ling seemed to have entered an extremely strange state. This was a state of stubbornness. He only had one goal, and that was to take the woman in white away. Perhaps it was this stubbornness that allowed him to persist until now. Don't come over. Seeing this, the white-clothed woman took a step back and gripped the holy artifact tightly in her hand. Kill him. At this moment, a voice resounded in the white-clothed woman's mind, causing her expression to change greatly. She kept shaking her head. No, I can't do it. Kill him, this man is here to steal the holy artifact. Saintess, don't forget that you're from the immortal temple. Kill him. However, the voice became more and more holy and cold. Under the voice, the swastika between the white-clothed woman's eyebrows also emitted light. This caused the white-clothed woman to be in pain. Kill him? Although she didn't know this man at all, she had a feeling that she couldn't do it. I'm here to take you home. However, the man walked forward with difficulty. Don't come over. Seeing this, the white-clothed woman became more and more worried. At the same time, she saw the Buddhist sword at her waist float up, and as if it was under her control, it shot towards the man. No! The white-clothed woman's beautiful eyes focused, and her voice was filled with intense pain. She couldn't control herself. She couldn't control the sword. Poof! That sword directly pierced through the man's chest. Blood gushed out, dyeing the white-clothed woman's clothes red like flowers blooming on her dress. Moreover, it broke her heart. For some reason, the moment the man was stabbed, her heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. She knew that she knew this young man. Although she still didn't have any memories of this young man, she was very sure of everything. At this moment, Lin Ling looked at the sword in his chest in disbelief. In the end, the corner of his mouth revealed a bitter smile, and his eyes revealed a trace of disappointment. This kind of disappointment made the white-clothed woman feel as if the entire world had darkened. She kept shaking her head and explaining, "It's not me, it's not me. Although she was the #1 saintess of the immortal temple and didn't need to pay attention to this man, there was a voice in her heart that told her to explain. She was afraid that this man would misunderstand her. Young master. At the same time, below the high tower, many afterimages angrily shouted. For an Yuer, Lin Ling slaughtered the world and didn't hesitate to use his life force to activate the divine sword. He brought his half-dead body to the high tower in order to bring an Yuer home. However, an Yuer attacked Lin Ling with her sword. Could it be that she had a heart of stone? Even if she was a stubborn rock, at this moment, she should have been melted by Lin Ling's deep feelings. It wasn't just him, even the experts at the Saint Realm in the distance had sighed as well. For a woman, he charged into the demon capital without fear of death. Who would have thought that in the end, he would be killed by the Saintess? Saintess, everyone who isn't from the immortal temple wants to pollute the 9 provinces world. They are all sinners and can be killed. On the other side of the demon capital, an old monk indifferently said. His eyes didn't have any sympathy. He even revealed an expression as if the son of a demon deserved his punishment. He was the present great immortal elder of the immortal temple. The one who secretly controlled an Yuer was also him. At this moment, inside the high tower, Lin Ling looked at the cold sword in his chest and suddenly shook his head with a smile. He wanted to turn around and leave. This smile directly caused the woman in white to powerlessly sit on the ground. Silent tears also flowed down her face. She wanted to explain something, but she didn't know how to. However, at this moment, a terrifying murderous intent arrived. Lin Ling, I finally found a chance to kill you. Yes. Outside the high tower, a woman riding an azure dragon coiled around the tower. Moreover, a dazzling golden sword appeared in her hand and shot towards Lin Ling like a meteor. This sword had the aura of the dragon clan. Lin Ling, if you didn't fight against so many heroes and were injured by the Saintess, I definitely wouldn't have this chance today. The woman holding the sword had an extremely cold expression. Her eyes were filled with a sinister light. You stole my talent. Today, I want you to die. After you die, I will take your dragon bone and your everything. As the fatal sword came closer and closer, the woman couldn't help but let out a bell-like laughter. Moreover, her laughter was very cold. Chapter 3195. As expected of the God Slayer. How dare you? The white-clothed woman's expression changed when she saw this. She unleashed her full strength in an attempt to block the attack for the man. However, she was clearly a little slow. That fatal strike had already arrived in front of Lin Ling. If it hit Lin Ling, with his current heavily injured body, Lin Ling would definitely die. In the blink of an eye, everyone below the tower frowned. They had never thought that the son of the devil, who had swept through all the heroes, would die in the hands of 2 women. This caused them to laugh bitterly. Since ancient times, heroes had a weakness for beauties. Perhaps only beauties could kill an expert like the son of devil. Young master, be careful. Doing didn't expect things to turn out like this. However, he was further away from Lin Ling and couldn't help at all. Am I going to die? Alas, what a pity. On the other side of the demon metropolis, all the big shots were watching this scene. Among them, the young demon lord actually let out a soft sigh, as if he was extremely regretful. He originally wanted to do something, but in the end, he was too far away to do anything. He could only helplessly help. In everyone's hearts, Lin Ling was already half a step into the underworld. The smell of death grew thicker and thicker, causing Lin Ling to feel as if he was experiencing terminal lucidity. Everything that had happened before also surfaced in his mind. His eyes narrowed as he stared intently at the woman before him. Longnyang. He had long known that letting Longnyang go would cause endless trouble in the future. Today, retribution had indeed come. I, Lin Ling, have yet to take my revenge. How can I die here? Lin Ling roared inwardly. He had survived the attacks of countless saints and had even almost killed deity. Was he going to die here today? He couldn't accept it. Crackle. As if sensing his unwillingness, a sudden change occurred. Black lightning suddenly exploded out. It was as if Lin Ling were a seed that was beginning to sprout and grow. This was little Kunlun. Not long ago, Lin Ling went into seclusion to break through. At that time, he gave a lot of nether dragon accompanying fluid to little Kunlun. After little Kunlun swallowed it, it went into a deep slumber. No one had expected that at the moment of Lin Ling's life and death, little Kunlun would awaken. Rumble. Moreover, this awakening was extremely terrifying. In just an instant, the black vines actually wrapped around the entire tower and spread across the ground like a tide. It actually had the aura of sealing the city. Clang! Longnyang's sword cut through countless vines. The sound was like metal clashing. However, there were too many vines. Even though the sword was sharp, it could not stop the growth of the vines. In the end, the sword was entangled by the vines. At the same time, within the endless vines, a huge black flower bud appeared and swam towards Lin Ling. In the end, it wrapped around Lin Ling. Then, the flower bud retracted and disappeared into the endless vines. This unforeseen event could be said to have happened in the blink of an eye. By the time people reacted, the earth was still shaking. Oh no, he's going to escape. We can't let him escape. He has the sword of gods in his hand. This treasure must be kept. That sword is related to our divine escort mansion. The demonic son must have stolen it from the divine escort mansion. In other directions of the demon metropolis, various big shots arrived with an unstoppable aura. Their faces were filled with anxiety. This group of experts was clearly more ferocious. Many of them were in the late stage of the sage stage, and there were even a few martial ancestors. After they arrived in an instant, they immediately attacked the endless vines. Rumble. The vines began to wither. They could not stop the joint attack of these experts at all. However, after all the vines withered, people saw a huge hole in the ground. It seemed that the terrifying vines had carried Lin Ling away through the ground. Bastard! All the experts roared in unison. The demonic son had actually escaped safely under the joint attack of so many of them. Not only was this infuriating, but it was also a great humiliation. This was the best chance to kill him, but in the end, he still escaped. Longyang also stood in the air. Her beautiful face was cold, and her hands were tightly clenched into fists. Why was Lin Ling so difficult to kill? Under the siege of the heavenly court led by martial god Qilin, not only did Lin Ling not die, but he also almost killed a god. Under the attacks of various big shots, coupled with the fatal blow from the sword, Lin Ling still managed to escape. Lin Ling, oh Lin Ling, who is he? Longyang suddenly remembered the poisonous wine she used in the spirit province. At that time, Lin Ling returned to his previous life. Could it be that he was a god in his previous life? I'm sorry. Looking at the big hole in the ground, the white-clothed woman from the immortal temple seemed to be in a daze. She really wanted to tell the man that she really did not use the sword. She quietly stood on the spot like an ice goddess, but her eyes also began to look into the distance. Her eyes constantly flickered, making it impossible for others to know what she was thinking. In her heart, towards the sacred immortal temple, she also began to quietly waver. She felt that something was being hidden from her. Perhaps, her memories of her previous life had been erased. Thank goodness, thank goodness. At this moment, in the demon metropolis, Do Kening let out a sigh of relief. However, when he thought about the injuries Lin Ling suffered in this battle, he became worried again. Then, he quietly left the demon metropolis. As for the experts from various places, they all gathered in a corner of the tower in silence. The son of the devil. Finally, a white-haired old man spoke in a solemn voice. Without a doubt, the news of the son of the devil's reappearance and stirring up the eternal forbidden forest would soon spread throughout the 9 continents. This would also lead to more people, more big shots of the 9 continents, becoming very curious about the son of the devil. As expected of the god slayer, good. The young demon lord of the eternal demon race revealed a mysterious smile. He seemed to be very happy that Lin Ling had escaped. Young demon lord, this child is truly frightening. He fought against the big shots of the 9 continents with the strength of a half-step saint and still managed to escape alive. Such a character will definitely be extraordinary in the future. However, he forcefully used the divine artifact before, so his life force must have weakened a lot. Another old man immediately said from the side. I hope he can overcome this great calamity because I want to cooperate with him once to slay the god slayer. The young demon lord proudly spat out these words. Then, he disappeared on the spot and entered the demon metropolis again to snatch the demon emperor's sacred item. The others also did the same. However, when they recalled the intensity of the previous battle, they would never forget it for the rest of their lives. To them, that battle could be considered a miracle. At this moment, a vine shot out from the ground like lightning. All the hard soil was cut open like tofu. Its speed was extremely fast, and a black flower bud was hidden within the vine. If Lin Ling woke up at this moment, he would definitely be surprised to find that little Kunlun had actually bloomed. However, at this moment, he couldn't see any of this because the previous battle had left him in a life-and-death situation. Even though the flower bud continuously poured energy into Lin Ling's body, it was of no use. This made little Kunlun even more anxious. Chapter 3196. The Mysterious Old Man. Rumble. Not long after, on the other side of the ancient forbidden forest, the ground shook and a huge black snake slithered out. Upon closer inspection, it was not a black snake but a thick vine. Then, the vine began to grow and sealed the area, turning it into a world of vines. And at the center, a black and resplendent flower bud slowly bloomed, revealing an extremely pale young man. The young man was covered in injuries, especially the Buddhist sword in his chest. At this moment, it was glowing brightly and devouring his life force. Kunlun. Among the thousands of vines, a thick vine slithered over and caressed the young man's face, letting out a cry. Then, the vine sensed that the young man's life force was disappearing. It began to panic. It was like a child, pacing back and forth. Suddenly, the vine shook as if it had thought of something and quickly slithered into the young man's body. Then, it took out a jade bottle and poured the fragrant liquid in the jade bottle into the young man's chest. A miracle was born. At this moment, the withered flesh and blood were slowly recovering. However, the evil Buddhist sword continued to devour everything. It was recovering and devouring at the same time. Just like that, the two sides were exhausted. When the little vine saw this, it finally relaxed. Although the young man still did not wake up, at least he would not die for now. Time flew by, and a year passed quietly. The big shots of the 9 prefectures in the ancient forbidden forest left one after another. All kinds of rumors were spreading in the 9 prefectures. During this trip to the ancient forbidden forest, the big shots of the 9 prefectures fell one after another, shocking the 9 prefectures. Of course, the most shocking one was the son of the demon. In the Battle of Demon Metropolis, he fought against all the heroes and left a lasting impression. Unfortunately, the son of the demon disappeared in the end. Some people said that he was dead, some said that he was still alive but had become a cripple. Some even said that they saw the son of the demon in the myriad of worlds. All kinds of rumors floated around, making it hard to tell which were true and which were false. Finally, in the endless rumors, the 9 prefectures gradually quieted down. However, there were many groups of people who entered and left the 9 prefectures and traversed the myriad of worlds in order to find the son of the demon. One group of people was from the spirit state. The other group was from Qingzhou. The remaining 2 groups of people were extremely mysterious. No one knew where they came from. However, no one knew that the son of the demon was still in the eternal forbidden forest, and he was still racing against the Grim Reaper. Because right now, the amount of nether dragon accompanying liquid left for Lin Ling was decreasing. But on this day, 2 figures were walking casually in the ancient forbidden forest. One of them was old while the other was young. The old one looked to be in his 70s or 80s. Although his hair was white, he looked extremely spirited. The younger one was a girl. She was about 8 or 9 years old and looked as cute as a porcelain doll. They chatted as they walked, but the girl's bell-like laughter could be heard from time to time. Of course, making such a ruckus in the ancient forbidden forest was no different from courting death. Rumble. A bone-armored parrot the size of a mountain flew down from the sky. This parrot was covered in colorful armor, and it was awe-inspiring. Most importantly, its aura was so terrifying that even a saint would have to avoid it. Little bird, don't block the way. But who knew that the little girl would point at the parrot and scold it? At first, the parrot wanted to swallow the 2 people. But when it saw them clearly, its huge bird head broke out in cold sweat. Gga. Then, it ran away. Don't run, I haven't ridden you in a long time. Let me ride you. The little girl seemed to treat the demonic beast as a toy and chased after it. Her speed was extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, she appeared in front of the huge parrot. One was as big as a mountain while the other was as weak as an ant. However, the mountain-like demonic beast was trembling. Little you, don't run around. Grandpa still has business to attend to. However, at this moment, the old man on the ground suddenly laughed. Oh! The little girl's short legs took a step forward and then walked towards the old man. The parrot looked at the old man in fear as if it had seen a god. Then, it flew further and further away. This was probably the fastest speed it had ever flown in its life. In fact, all the demonic beasts in the forbidden forest had quietly gone into hiding. This made the old man and the little girl feel as if they were walking in their own backyard. Gradually, a black forest appeared in front of them. This forest was different from the other places. It had a sense of desolation and eternity. Upon closer inspection, this forest was filled with vines that sealed off the surrounding area. Not to mention entering the vines, even getting close to the vines would be a dead end. Everything could be seen from the bones of the demonic beasts at the edge of the forest. Grandpa, what is that? The little girl looked ahead and asked curiously. Yes, this is the god vine of desolation. It is very rare to see it in the 9 states. It only appeared in the era of the gods. It is said that during the war between the gods, the talents of the gods were brought out. The old man said calmly, I thought that this thing that disappeared with the era of the gods would be difficult to see again. I didn't expect it to appear in the forbidden forest. Grandpa, is this vine very powerful? The little girl's big eyes shone. The 2 of them walked as they walked. Strangely, wind and rain appeared around them. When they got close to the vines immediately moved aside, revealing a path to the center of the forest. Powerful, very powerful. If it grows up, a single vine can drown the entire 9 states. The old man said. Not long after, the 2 of them appeared in the center of the forest. There were very few vines in the center. Instead, there was a huge flower bud floating in the air. Beside the flower bud, a vine as thick as an arm was swaying slightly. We're here. A hint of ruthlessness appeared in the old man's eyes as he looked at the vine. I thought that this vine was born from the forbidden forest. It turns out that it is an outsider. The old man stepped forward and walked towards the flower bud. Then, he saw the young man in the flower bud. It is the cursed Buddhist sword of the 9 states immortal temple. Moreover, it seems like it has been a long time since he was hit by the sword. He is still alive? What a waste. He actually used the associated dragon liquid to prolong his life. If such a young man dies, then so be it. What's the big deal? The associated dragon liquid is extremely rare. The old man frowned. He reached out with his aged hand as if he wanted to collect the associated dragon liquid. If he collected it, the young man would definitely die if he did not have the associated dragon liquid to prolong his life. Whoosh! However, at this moment, a black bolt of lightning struck and pierced the old man's hand. The old man was furious when he saw this, and then a wisp of a divine aura effused out from him. It actually caused the black bolt of lightning to be unable to move. Surprisingly, the black bolt of lightning was little Kunlun. I, Nanwufengyu, am here. You dare to stop me? Do you know what kind of existence you are fighting? Chapter 3197. A Peaceful Island. Although the old man's voice was old, it carried an incomparable domineering aura. He stretched out one hand and grabbed the vine in his hand. The vine struggled like a small snake and could not break free from the old man's iron claw. You should clearly understand what kind of existence I am. The old man's eyes revealed killing intent as he looked at the half-dead young man. Wind and rain drifted past. Killing intent arrived in an instant. Grandpa, wait! However, at this moment, the little girl suddenly shouted. This sentence made the old man's domineering expression instantly disappear and turn into kindness. What's wrong, Xiaoyu? The old man said with a smile. This big brother is not dead yet. He looks like he's in pain. Why don't we help him? The little girl stared at the young man and said with a frown. Xiaoyu, why? The old man still smiled. Because I feel that he's like my big brother. Yes. As soon as these words fell, the old man's heart trembled fiercely. Xiaoyu's big brother was actually a very ordinary person. He was caught by the old man from the myriad worlds and used to serve Xiaoyu. However, because of an accident, the young man was killed by the enemy in order to protect Xiaoyu. From then on, Xiaoyu did not have any playmates except for Xiaoyu and Xiaoyu. However, the old man knew that she still could not let go of that young man in her heart. They're different. Yes. The old man said indifferently. Same, I feel the same. Grandpa, promise me, just help him once, okay? The little girl wrapped around the old man's arm and acted like a spoiled child. Alas, I really can't do anything to you. However, Grandpa will remind you that there's demonic chi in his body. The strength of that demonic chi is definitely from the era of gods. I'm afraid that such a person is not a good person. Yes. I believe him. Grandpa, save him. Forget it. This boy also has the chi of the dragon race's heavenly dragon. This heavenly dragon is the most righteous. Grandpa will save him once. However, it's really strange that one good and one evil can be gathered in one body. Yes. The old man finally sighed and said. He stretched out his palm and a small world appeared. That world had rain sprinkling down like dew. Grandpa, you actually used the rain dew? Yes. Seeing this, the little girl cried out in alarm. Immortal Temple's sword of curse, ordinary methods cannot save it. Even the accompanying dragon liquid is the same. Apart from the wind and rain dew, I fear that it is impossible to break the curse. However, this old man has also suffered a great loss. How about this, the vine will leave with me, and I'll save its life. Xiaoyu, what do you think? All right, Grandpa, as long as you can save him. Hearing this, the old man smiled and felt much better. The vine on the side seemed to understand their conversation. It caressed the young man's cheek reluctantly and slowly swam towards the old man. It knew that from now on, it was going to leave Lin Ling. However, in order to save Lin Ling, it was willing to do anything. Even if this godlike old man wanted to refine it into a treasure or even a medicinal pill, it would not refuse. However, as soon as it began to swim, an arm suddenly grabbed at it. Bang! This arm actually grabbed onto the vine. Moreover, it was extremely strong and did not let the vine escape. This change caused the old man's expression to change. According to the norm, the young man should be half dead at this moment. However, he was actually still conscious. If you don't let go, then I won't save you. You choose for yourself. The old man said coldly. However, the arm still grabbed the vine and did not let go. Even if the vine kept resisting, the arm would not loosen at all. Even the old man was moved by her stubbornness. Grandpa, don't break them up. They must have relied on each other for survival and have gone through ups and downs together. If you break them up, Xiaoyu will feel uncomfortable. Yes. Just like Brother Tong, he left, but I don't want the heavens to break us up. Yes. The little girl looked at the young man, and as she spoke, she began to cry. Sigh. Yes. The old man's heart of stone finally softened. What a loss. Yes. Then, he looked at the young man and said, "You're too lucky. Today, I'll treat you for free. Is that enough? I don't want that vine of yours anymore. Is that enough? Sigh, I've lost so much." Sigh. As if it had heard the old man's words, the arm actually let go. This caused the old man to be even more tongue-tied, and he almost vomited blood from anger. He did not know if this kid had really fainted or if he was faking it. Vine, take back the surrounding vines. I will cure him. Come with me. Follow me. The old man gently pushed the world in his hand toward the young man. Wrap him with your flower bud. In a month, he will wake up. Yes. After that, he turned around and left with the little girl. The little girl licked her fingers and revealed an extremely cute smile. Time passed quietly just like that. At this moment, at the core of the ancient forbidden forest, there was a huge ancient lake. The ancient lake was filled with terrifying demonic beasts. Even if a martial ancestor was here, he would not dare to cross the lake. On the other hand, the island was full of birds and fragrant flowers. A little girl, a little rabbit, and a deer were running around on the grass. Not far from her was a quiet little house. There was a vine growing in the middle of the house, and a handsome young man was lying on the side of the vine. You, Suddenly, the young man exclaimed and sat up on the bed. He was none other than Lin Ling. The sudden awakening had caused him to feel slightly confused. He kept trying to recall, and all his memories gradually came back to him. I'm still alive? I remember Longnian was here to kill me. Lin Ling frowned and looked to the side. He immediately saw little Kunlun, and he could not help but feel delighted. Big brother, you're awake. At this moment, the door was pushed open, and a little girl who looked like a porcelain doll walked in with her short legs. Behind her were a little rabbit and a deer. Such a combination made Lin Ling a little stunned. Grandpa said it was little Vine who saved you. Then, when you were hit by the sword, Grandpa saved you again. The little girl said with a smile. After she opened her mouth, Lin Ling realized that the little girl was growing her teeth. 2 of her front teeth were missing, which made her look extremely funny. Little Kunlun, you saved me. Then, Lin Ling looked at the vine. Kunlun. The vine quickly wrapped around Lin Ling's left arm and returned to its original position on his arm. Then, it fell into a deep sleep. Lin Ling kept trying to recall, and he gradually guessed a lot of things. Then, he looked down and saw that there was still a sword mark on his chest. Around the sword mark, there were corroded scars that looked like the sun. This Buddhist sword is so scary. However, this little girl's grandpa actually saved me. He must be a god. Lin Ling muttered to himself. Then, he sensed his whole body and immediately realized that not only were all his injuries healed, even his vitality was more vigorous than before. Even his godly devil body had been greatly enhanced, reaching the speed of 600 worlds. With the help of this enormous physical strength, Lin Ling was confident that he could reach the speed of 70 worlds. Chapter 3198. The Art of Wind and Rain. No wonder it was like this. Lin Ling couldn't help but feel a pang of heartache. This was because increasing one's physical strength could actually be replaced by other treasures, and the Nether Dragon Companion liquid was even more precious. Lin Ling had clearly suffered a great loss. Most importantly, using so much companion liquid only increased his strength by this much. It could be seen that most of the companion liquid was used to save his life. You're awake. At this time, an old man walked in indifferently. Thank you, Senior, for saving me. Lin Ling secretly glanced at him and found that he couldn't see through him at all. He immediately knew that this was someone that even Li Xiaoyao had to look up to. No need to thank me. If you want to thank someone, thank Xiaoyu. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even care about ants like you. The old man was still indifferent. Lin Ling was shocked, but he guessed something and hurriedly bowed to the little girl. Hee, big brother, no need to thank me. Grandpa is tough on the outside but soft on the inside. In fact, he saved you. The little girl suddenly giggled, causing Lin Ling to laugh as well. It's good that you're awake. Walk around and familiarize yourself with the surroundings. Also, I threw your sword on the other side. It's too dirty and can't exist here. The old man glanced at Lin Ling indifferently and then left the small house. Senior, can you tell the origin of that sword? Hearing this, Lin Ling suddenly shouted because he had always been curious about the origin of the scabbard. The old man suddenly stopped in his tracks, as if he was thinking about something, but quickly left the small house. At the same time, a cold voice floated out. A despicable person, a sword he left behind. The voice floated into Lin Ling's mind, causing his pupils to constrict. From this sentence, he knew that this old man was someone from the era of gods. In the following days, Lin Ling recuperated on the island. At the same time, he recalled the scene that happened in the ancient Forbidden Forest. When he thought of Yuer, he felt an inexplicable pain in his heart. Brother Ling, do you hate Sister Yuer? After a period of interaction, Lin Ling could not withstand Xiao Yu's interrogation and naturally told her the reason for his injury. Therefore, Xiao Yu was also very curious about Yuer. Hearing this, Lin Ling smiled and looked into the distance. If it was me, I would definitely hate her. Because in order to find her, Big Brother Ling traveled a long distance to the ancient Forbidden Forest and even saved her from the hands of so many experts. In the end, she almost killed Big Brother Ling. I hate her so much. So, Big Brother Ling was right to leave back then. Xiao Yu rested her chin on her hands and imitated Lin Ling to look into the distance. I don't hate her. However, Lin Ling also spoke. His words shocked Xiao Yu. The reason why I want to leave is because I know that she is controlled by Immortal Temple. She forced me to kill her, but she doesn't want to kill me in her heart. Therefore, I want to leave. I can't make things difficult for her. Lin Ling said with a smile. Brother Ling, why? Xiaoyu's eyes narrowed. When you grow up and meet someone you like, you will understand. I believe that the person who likes you will do the same. When two people are together, they shouldn't be so calculative. Lin Ling turned his head and scratched Xiaoyu's nose with a smile. Someone I like? Xiaoyu's eyes flickered. Then, she chuckled and said, I understand. I don't hate big sister Yu now because she can't control herself. Moreover, I will meet someone I like in the future. I am willing to do anything for him. That's right. In a heartless world, people must have feelings. Lin Ling said with a smile. The two of them lay on the grass and chatted continuously. Occasionally, there would be cheerful laughter. On the other side of the island, the old man looked at this scene indifferently. His eyes flickered continuously, but his cold expression gradually revealed a smile. Night gradually fell. Xiaoyu quickly became sleepy and fell asleep in Lin Ling's little house. Lin Ling carried the little white rabbit and the little deer into the house and gently placed them beside Xiaoyu. He looked at Xiaoyu and couldn't help but smile. He also liked this naive and innocent girl very much. Moreover, he was starting to miss Lin Yi and Yu Yu. Lin Ling, come out and see me. However, at this moment, a cold voice rang in Lin Ling's ears. Also, don't wake Xiaoyu up. Lin Ling nodded immediately and quietly left the house. Outside the house, the moonlight shone brightly. An ordinary-looking old man bathed in the moonlight. He placed his hands behind his back and looked indifferently at the ancient lake. How is your current strength? The old man's voice sounded somewhat emotionless. Senior, although I am in the 5th stage of the half-saint realm, I have few opponents in the late half-saint realm. I am not afraid of anyone unless they are at the peak of the half-saint realm. Yes. Lin Ling immediately replied. Very good strength. Yes. The old man nodded slightly. In fact, Lin Ling did not reveal all of his trump cards. For example, if he used his true inheritance, the dark sword, he could kill even a saint. However, with the example of consuming vitality the first time, Lin Ling would never use it again unless the great calamity came. How is your talent? The old man asked again. I have the spacetime divine steel, which is the ultimate wild body. I have the demon eyes, which is also the ultimate wild body. I also have the body of the realm devouring beast, one of the 4 great ominous creatures, and the dragon bone. I don't know what my current limit is, but I am sure that I will not be weak in the future. Lin Ling said honestly. He knew that even if he did not say anything, the old man would find out something with his strength. Boy, if I am not wrong, you should have the strength of 600 worlds. Moreover, your boundary essence is very strange. It seems to be in the 5th stage of the half-saint realm, but it is not much weaker than the 10th stage of the half-saint realm. However, I don't care about that. What I care about is your speed. Senior. Replying to Senior, the current speed is 70 realms. Too slow. You're too slow. Even saints can't catch up to you. I'll teach you the wind and rain 10,000 realms technique. This is a ranked martial art. It's divided into wind technique, rain technique, 10,000 technique, and world technique. It can increase your speed by 200 realms. Yes. Hearing this, Lin Ling was shocked. The old man finally turned around and looked at Lin Ling indifferently. I know you are surprised, but the answer is very simple. I have something to do and need to leave this place. Therefore, I am entrusting you to take care of Xiaoyu. The strength of a martial artist cannot be improved in a short period of time. You can only work on your speed. At least if you encounter a strong enemy, you can escape even if you can't defeat them. Yes. This. Yes. Lin Ling was speechless. No wonder the old man was so kind. He wanted to teach him how to escape. If you have something to do and need to leave, I can wait for you on the island with Xiaoyu. If you don't return, I will not leave. Yes. Then, Lin Ling said again. No. If I leave, the island will be the most dangerous place. If you take Xiaoyu away from here, I will find you in the future. Yes. Hearing this, the old man reprimanded. All right then. Please enlighten me. Yes. I hope your perception is not too weak. I don't have much time and patience to waste here with you. Yes. Chapter 3199. Entrusted to Lin Ling. In the following days, every time Xiaoyu fell asleep, the old man would guide Lin Ling in comprehending the wind and rain myriad worlds technique. This speed martial art was extremely terrifying and had the power to pierce through 10,000 worlds in an instant. It was divided into 4 realms: wind technique, rain technique, myriad technique, and world technique. Wind technique increased the speed of 20 worlds, rain technique increased the speed of 50 worlds, and myriad technique increased the speed of 80 worlds. The final world technique was 200 worlds. Lin Ling's speed had always been his strength. After comprehending this martial art, his speed had undoubtedly increased again. It could be said that if he comprehended the wind technique, no one in the Sage-to-be realm could catch up to him, not even those in the initial stage of the Sage-to-be realm. On this day, the old man called for Lin Ling again, and the way he looked at Lin Ling had changed. As expected of the 10,000 mammoth demonic eyes. Although it doesn't have any offensive power, its comprehension is truly terrifying. In less than a month, you've already cultivated the wind technique. This is somewhat beyond my expectations. The old man smiled at Lin Ling. This was the first time he smiled at Lin Ling. Senior's guidance is still the best. Lin Ling also smiled. You don't have to flatter me. I, treasure god Nanwufengyu, know what I'm capable of. In this world, other than Xiaoyu, there's no one else that I can patiently guide. I called you out today to tell you that I'm leaving. Xiaoyu, I'll leave it to you. In the past, I saved your life. Today, it's time for you to repay me. Complete this task, and we won't owe each other anything. Can you do it? The old man looked at Lin Ling solemnly. At the end of his words, he actually bowed deeply. This caused Lin Ling's expression to change. He wanted to help the old man up, but the old man refused. This isn't me, treasure god Nanwufengyu, asking you for help. This is an ordinary old man asking you for help, so please protect Xiaoyu. The moment he raised his head, the old man solemnly said. Unless the heavens and earth shatter, Xiaoyu will be safe and sound. Seeing this, Lin Ling also enunciated each word clearly. I realize that I like you a little. Hearing this, the old man couldn't help but laugh loudly. If Lin Ling said that unless he, Lin Ling, died, Xiaoyu would definitely be safe and sound. If that was the case, the old man would not be very happy. However, Lin Ling had said that unless the heavens fell and the earth cracked. This meant that even if Lin Ling died, Xiaoyu would be safe and sound. From this, he knew that the person he had entrusted him with did not disappoint him. Coupled with his observations over the past few days, he knew that although this kid was a little demonic, he was magnanimous and righteous. I'm leaving. Then, the old man smiled and left. Senior, aren't you going to greet Xiaoyu? Seeing this, Lin Ling frowned. Hearing this, the old man sighed in his heart and laughed dryly. I'm afraid that she won't be willing. As soon as he finished speaking, he vanished from where he stood. Lin Ling immediately shook his head helplessly. Was it because Xiaoyu was reluctant? Or was this old man reluctant to part with her? In reality, it was more likely that the old man was reluctant. The next day, when Xiaoyu woke up, Lin Ling told her about the old man's departure. Unexpectedly, Xiaoyu's reaction was very calm. She was just a little disappointed. Xiaoyu already knew that Grandpa had something to do. However, he was always worried about Xiaoyu, so he accompanied Xiaoyu. Now that Grandpa is going to fulfill his promise, Xiaoyu is happy for him. Xiaoyu forced a smile. This change surprised Lin Ling. He had thought that Xiaoyu would be willful since she was young, but he didn't expect her to be so obedient and sensible. Don't worry, your grandpa will definitely come and fetch you. During this period, Brother Ling will also protect you well. Let's go, Brother Ling will bring you to see the outside world. Alright, bring little rabbit and little deer. The little girl's emotions were indeed very easy to pacify. She immediately jumped for joy, making Lin Ling shake his head helplessly. Next, Lin Ling brought little Kunlun and left towards the ancient lake. However, when they just got close to the ancient lake, terrifying demonic beasts broke out of the water. The power of the demonic beasts made Lin Ling suck in a breath of cold air. However, when he unleashed his full speed, 90 worlds appeared, and he easily crossed the ancient lake. This made Lin Ling stunned. It turned out that the old man had already calculated everything. The speed of 90 worlds was just right for the demonic beasts at the bottom of the lake to catch up. No wonder he wanted Lin Ling to cultivate faster. When he came to the shore, Lin Ling quickly saw his sword. After carrying it on his back, he walked towards the distance. On this day, the ancient forbidden forest attracted a strange group. A young man, a little girl, a rabbit, a deer, and a vine. Rumble. The young man was extremely ferocious. When he encountered the demonic beasts, he didn't retreat. Instead, he fought fiercely as if he wanted to vent all his frustrations during this period. The young man even dared to fight with a sage-level demonic beast. He relied on his illusory martial arts and his speed. Looking at the little girl, not only was she not frightened, but she was also cheering. This made one wonder if the little girl knew what fear was. After a period of time, Lin Ling finally walked out of the ancient forbidden forest. His gaze was fixed on Cloud State. Then, Lin Ling looked beside him and saw that Xiaoyu was full of curiosity about everything in front of her. Let's go. Brother will bring you to see the prosperous world. Seeing this, Lin Ling couldn't help but smile. He was not in a hurry to go home. Instead, he brought Xiaoyu to the big city of Cloud State. Not long after, a luxurious big city appeared in front of them. Of course, to Lin Ling, such a big city was very ordinary. However, to Xiaoyu, this was the first time she had seen so many people in her life. On the streets, there were all kinds of strange things that blinded Xiaoyu's eyes. Brother Ling, look at what this is. It's a bunch of skewers. It's so beautiful. That's Tonghulu. Seeing that Xiaoyu was so happy, Lin Ling couldn't help but feel happy too. After all, he owed this little girl his life. Brother Ling, can I have one? No, just one. Hee, let's not talk about one skewer. Even if you want to eat a whole cart, Brother Ling will buy it for you. Brother Ling, you're the best. Wow, there are so many people. There aren't so many people in the ancient forbidden forest. There are tigers, monkeys, and other ugly magical beasts there. The two of them walked along the streets. The more Xiaoyu walked, the happier she was. She even let out a little rabbit and a little deer to wander around. Everyone was tongue-tied. Where did these two country bumpkins come from? They even brought a rabbit with them. However, when they saw how cute Xiaoyu was, they also laughed. They were infected by her naivety. Of course, they also saw that the young man with the sword on his back was very cold. It was as if he didn't want anyone to get close to him. That was the reason why they were afraid of him. Giddy up. At this time, on the spacious street, a tiger horse and a carriage galloped past. The tiger horse was a product of the ancient forbidden forest. It was a demonic beast, but half of it was a magical beast. It had a violent temperament and only people from big families could tame it. Therefore, when the tiger horse carriage passed by, the people were secretly shocked. What a grand show! They actually used tiger horses to pull a carriage. While they were still in shock, the tiger horses suddenly stopped. Each of them opened their bloody mouths and drooled as they stared at a white rabbit and a little deer by the side of the street. Chapter 3200. I don't care who you are. Why did you stop? A cold voice suddenly came from the carriage, causing the expert driving the horse to helplessly say, "The tiger horses seem to be a little hungry." Seeing the rabbits on the street, they seemed to be a little moved. Didn't we just finish feeding them the dragon crocodile meat? No, that rabbit doesn't seem to be an ordinary rabbit. Let the tiger horse eat it. A young man's head popped out of the carriage. His face was pale and his lips were red. He stared at the rabbit on the street and immediately said calmly. After that, he shrunk back and no longer cared about anything. Hearing his words, the guard in front of the carriage immediately accepted the order and dismounted. His eyes were extremely cold. In their eyes, a girl about 8 or 9 years old was squatting on the ground, feeding a little rabbit and a deer with candied haws. These two animals looked ordinary, but upon closer inspection, one would discover that they were somewhat extraordinary. For example, the rabbit's eyes were like jade, and upon closer inspection, there was ice and snow floating in them. This was the flying frost divine rabbit. Looking at the deer again, it actually had 4 horns, and the horns were like dragons. This was the stealthy night indigo deer. These two spirit beasts were treasures that only appeared in the ancient forbidden forest. Thinking of this, the eyes of the guards burned with passion. What are you doing? Not long after, Xiao Yu's furious voice rang out. Someone was trying to steal her little rabbit. This little rabbit had grown up with her and was her best friend. Of course I'm going to eat your rabbit. The man said coldly with a ferocious face. His words caused Xiao Yu to be stunned. Her beautiful eyes immediately became moist as she looked at the fierce guards with some fear. Big brother. Then, Xiao Yu cried and shouted. Her pitiful look made the passers-by soften their hearts. They stared at the guards and cursed in their hearts. How could they bully such a cute little girl? These guys were really scum. However, they knew the origins of those guards very well, so they only dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. What a lovely little girl. Cry, the louder you cry, the happier we will be. On the contrary, the guards were somewhat perverted, and each of them began to laugh sinisterly. Xiao Yu. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from the other side of the street. Rumble. Soon after, a huge monster that looked like a demonic beast rushed down the street. Wherever it passed, it caused the entire street to shake. Crackle crackle rumble. The ancient bricks and stones on the street were sent flying. This change completely shocked the passers-by. The guards' expressions changed as well. When they came to their senses, Xiao Yu, a cold-looking man. This man carried a huge scabbard on his back, as well as a black sword case. His long hair fluttered in the wind, and within his long hair, one could vaguely see a pair of cold eyes. With just a glance, those guards were already trembling with fear. Sir, sir. Sir. They spoke nervously, knowing that this man was most likely a ferocious person. However, the blue-robed youth did not pay attention to them. Instead, he looked at the tearful little girl. Little Yu, what happened? Brother Xiao Xiao, brother Young? Yi, ti mi Xiao Xiao Yu, after her like her leave. Hearing this, Lin Linghu's eyes widened. Xiao Yu had saved Lin Linghu's life and was even more innocent. These people actually dared to kill her. His gaze turned towards the guards, and the coldness in his eyes became even more intense. "Sire, this is a misunderstanding. We were ordered by the young master to catch a little rabbit and deer to feed the tiger horse. Since they belong to your family, then let's forget about this matter." One of them felt his heart tremble violently as he hurriedly apologized. "You mean, if this little girl isn't part of my family, you can bully her as you please?" Lin Ling's voice grew deeper and deeper. "This." The guards couldn't reply, because this was the truth. If the blue-robed youth wasn't formidable, then why would they show mercy? "Very good, even I don't dare to make her cry, but you dare to make her cry." "Very good, very good." Lin Ling smiled, but his smile was very cold. With a twitch of his eyebrows, colorful flames appeared in the sky, and a huge shadow came crashing down. The spacetime steel. Rumble. The street trembled as a tower-like stone tablet appeared, suppressing the ground. Several guards were directly smashed into meat paste. This kind of tyrannical method directly intimidated the entire city. No one had expected this young man to be so terrifying when he was angry. However, was this the end of it? Obviously not. Lin Ling's gaze swept across the street, and immediately fell on the tiger horse in front of the street. He took a step forward. Whoosh! Then, he slashed with his sword. The tall tiger horse spurted out blood, dyeing half of the street red. It was killed by a single slash. After the tiger horse was killed, the carriage fell down, and a few figures climbed out. There were a few good-looking beauties, and a well-dressed young man. At this moment, they were looking at Lin Ling in horror. "Who the fuck are you?" The young man roared angrily. "So you're the one who bullied my Xiao Yu?" Lin Ling looked at him coldly. "Who's Xiao Yu?" "I'm just catching a rabbit to feed the horse." "How dare you kill my tiger horse? Do you know who I am?" The young man was even more enraged. Hearing this, Lin Ling's anger was even greater than his. He walked forward step by step, and a terrifying demonic aura permeated the air. His godly demon body was also surging with ferocious aura, causing the four most ferocious beasts of the universe to descend, and the entire city to cave in. Plop! The young man who looked like a spoiled brat was pressed down by the endless pressure, and his whole body was lying on the ground. Lin Ling walked over, and every step he took seemed to be stepping on the young man's heart. Finally, Lin Ling looked down at him condescendingly, reached out his hand, and suddenly grabbed the young man's neck, and slammed him to the ground. Boom! The ground suddenly cracked, and the cracks continued to spread. "I don't care who you are." At the same time, a domineering voice floated out from Lin Ling's mouth. The whole city was shaken again. No one had expected Lin Ling to be so arrogant. He did not even bother to say anything, and directly attacked in a simple and violent manner. "Kid, who are you?" Such a commotion was naturally noticed by the city lord, and at this moment, he appeared with a large number of strong cultivators. "Father!" The young man suddenly shouted with difficulty. Until now, he still did not understand what had happened. He only knew that he wanted to snatch a little rabbit, and in the end, he was suppressed by someone. He was even beaten to a pulp. This kind of domineering action had always only happened to him, and he was the main character. However, today, it happened to someone else, and he was suppressed by the domineering side character. "Yulin, don't worry. Father will not let him leave unscathed." A low shout came from the sky in the distance. The sky was filled with strong cultivators, and the leader was a burly man. At this moment, he was looking down at the earth like a god. Chapter 3201. The Mysterious Swordsman. At this moment, the city lord was also confused because he did not know what had happened. However, he could see that someone had overturned the city and crushed his son. This kind of domineering behavior was going too far. Die. However, he did not know that this was just the beginning. On the ground, Lin Ling roared angrily and slashed with his sword. This slash combined 4 dantians and 60% of the demonic sword steps. Rumble. In the sky, no one could block it. All the powerhouses were split into 2 and blood rained down. The city lord's face instantly turned pale. Only then did he realize that this person was so strong. Die. However, it was as if a demonic seed had been born in Lin Ling's heart. Before the slash ended, another slash came out. The entire ancient city was split into 2. Sir, there was a misunderstanding. The city lord was no longer as tyrannical as before and hurriedly begged for mercy. Die. However, Lin Ling still slashed with his sword. In his heart, Xiao Yu's teary little face had deeply provoked him. This was because he had been recuperating on the island for so long, and all Xiao Yu had left him was an innocent smile. Even during this period of time with Xiao Yu, he was incomparably happy, as if he had let go of all his hatred. However, such a little angel had been scared to tears. This had clearly touched Lin Ling's reverse scale. Lin Ling allowed the demonic aura in his heart to erupt as he continued slashing with his sword. As he continuously used the scabbard, his body more or less had demonic aura. This was also the reason why Xiao Yu's grandfather did not allow the scabbard to enter the island. Lin Ling also noticed this point. However, he could only suppress it and could not control it. However, ever since an Yuer's incident, his heart had been suppressed, so he allowed the demonic aura to wreak havoc. Rumble. This giant ancient city was undoubtedly destroyed today. Rocks the size of mountains tumbled in the sky like rice straws. The entire city was blown apart. When the city lord finally found out the reason for the youth's rage, he was speechless from anger. The destruction of the city was because of a rabbit. This must be a joke. Brother Ling. At this moment, Xiao Yu was clearly frightened. The current Lin Ling was completely different from the Lin Ling of the past. After her voice floated out, it was like sweet dew after the rain, which actually made Lin Ling gradually calm down. In the end, he stopped swinging his sword. Today, you must die. As for the others, forget about them. Lin Ling looked at the hedonistic young master on the ground and said indifferently. At this moment, the young master also knew what kind of existence he had provoked. At this moment, he really wanted to cry, because he had been a tyrant for many years, but he had always been safe and sound. However, in the end, because of a rabbit and a deer, he had to pay with his life. This made him extremely depressed. Could it be that his life couldn't even compare to a rabbit's? He'd originally intended to rescue his father, but he knew that his father probably wouldn't dare to offend this god of slaughter at this moment. Because of a little girl, you're going to destroy the city? However, at this moment, a smile suddenly came from the sky, causing Lin Ling to look up. He saw a beard-like man with a square face and a bearded face standing quietly in the sky, as if he had been waiting there all along. Sir, it's none of your business. Lin Ling said indifferently. Although the person who came was in the early stage of the sage stage, Lin Ling had fought countless sage stage cultivators, so he didn't have much respect for the sage stage. You're really arrogant. Rumor has it that the son of the demon can toy with the 9 states and even destroy gods. Today, I've seen it with my own eyes. You really live up to your reputation. The man smiled faintly, and with a wave of his right hand, a 2-meter-long broadsword appeared. The wind from the broadsword roared as it cut through the sky of the cloud state. This was an extremely powerful extreme weapon. Most importantly, he actually recognized the son of the demon. The son of the demon. Hearing the man's words, the entire city was in an uproar again, and everyone's expression changed drastically. Because the eternal forbidden forest was not far from the city, many people had heard of the rumors of the son of the demon. I actually provoked the son of the demon. Even the good-for-nothing young master felt a chill run down his spine. The entire 9 states is looking for you. I didn't expect you to still be in the cloud state. The man with the broadsword said again. So, you want to capture me now? Lin Ling also spoke. No, I'm only here for one purpose, and that is to save that trash of a young master. If you want to kill him, then go ahead and try. Hearing this, the man waved his broadsword and smiled faintly. Lin Ling didn't say much. With a twitch of his brows, the space-time divine steel floated up and suppressed the good-for-nothing young master. This action could be said to be in the blink of an eye. The man with the broadsword didn't expect Lin Ling to make a move so quickly. You want to kill him in front of me? Dream on. He swung his broadsword horizontally, and a terrifying thing happened. The sky was split into 2. The world above was blue, and the world below was black. When the broadsword collided with the space-time divine steel, it was sent flying. Seeing this, Lin Ling was still expressionless. Without looking at the good-for-nothing young master, the demon sword in his hand slashed out coldly. What a terrifying junior of the half-saint stage. Praise. His body disappeared on the spot, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of the good-for-nothing young master. He swung his broadsword, shocking the world and making ghosts and gods weep. Clang! The sword and the broadsword collided, and a destructive shockwave destroyed the entire ancient city. Lin Ling's eyes flickered. This man's strength was not bad. However, the more the man wanted to save someone, the more Lin Ling wanted to kill him. With a wave of his left hand, the calamity-destroying sun bow appeared. He drew the bow, and 4 arrows intertwined. The dragon god shot out and hovered in the sky, shocking the people around it. The people's hearts trembled violently. A battle of this level was something they could only see once in their lives. The 8 divine powers of the dragon clan. The broadsword-wielding man's expression also turned serious. He was puzzled. Lin Ling was clearly a 5th heaven half-saint, but his realm essence was terrifying. It was comparable to a 10th heaven half-saint. In addition, he could not see through Lin Ling's moves. It made him feel a lot of pressure. 9 deaths, 1 life saber. However, he was indeed a saint stage expert. After a moment of shock, his body exuded a mysterious aura. The desolate body appeared, and it was a treasured broadsword glowing with bloody light. After the broadsword appeared, his cultivation level rose crazily. When the dragon god's arrow was about to hit him, he suddenly swung his broadsword. This broadsword was like its name, 9 deaths, 1 life saber. After slashing out with this broadsword, he was also on the brink of death. However, when death approached, his broadsword became crazier. In fact, he liked the feeling of approaching death. Swoosh! This broadsword was not as earth-shattering as people had imagined. Instead, it flashed with bloody light. To Lin Ling's surprise, the heavenly dragon and dragon god that were entangled by 4 arrows were actually split into 2. Hee, in the half-saint stage, you are the first person in the 9 prefectures who can make me use this all-out saber. After killing the dragon god's arrow, the man stabbed his broadsword into the ground and revealed an excited smile. Now, you have used your final move. You have lost. Do you think I can't kill him in front of you? Chapter 3202. You've lost. I think it's impossible. The man stood there quietly. The saber at his feet buzzed and exuded a destructive aura. The man and the saber seemed to have merged into one. Lin Ling felt that there was no one in front of him, only a saber. A saber had stopped him. I think it's possible. However, Lin Ling still spat out a sentence coldly. Go ahead and try. The man smiled and kicked the saber beside his feet. The saber flew up and landed in his hand. He held the saber horizontally and continued to block Lin Ling's path forward. Their auras collided madly in the ruined city, causing a terrifying vortex to appear in the sky. It was so shocking that it shocked everyone in the vicinity. The two of them were competing in martial arts. One wanted to kill, the other wanted to save. In the end, who would succeed? The good-for-nothing young master's face was extremely pale. He had become the prey of the strong. "I'm going to attack." At this moment, Lin Ling finally spoke and broke the silence. Seeing this, the man tightened his grip on the saber. Bang! Lin Ling stomped on the ground and shot forward, the demonic sword in his hand rolling. The headless old man had quietly descended at this moment, as if the era of the gods had arrived. "I've heard that he has a sword that's like a god. Seeing it today, it's indeed terrifying. It's a sword that gets fiercer as the battle goes on." The man growled. He held the saber with both hands and slashed fiercely, causing a bloody rainbow to appear in the sky. Clang! This slash was extremely terrifying. Not only did it cut Lin Ling's sword, but it also cut Lin Ling in half. This change undoubtedly caused the man to be stunned on the spot, holding the saber in his hand. Lin Ling obviously couldn't block the attacks of a Saint Realm expert against a half-Saint Realm expert. Seeing this, Xiao Yu shouted from afar, "Brother Ling! Li Hongwang, what are you doing? Why did you kill him?" At the same time, an angry voice came from the sky. A woman holding a long sword shot down from the sky. This woman looked to be in her 30s, and she was quite pretty. Moreover, she was also at the saint stage. After she landed on the ground, she immediately gave the man a fierce slap. The man was also stunned. He kept shaking his head and said, "How would I know that he couldn't block a single strike? Previously, I saw that he was very powerful, so my fighting spirit was stimulated and I fought with all my strength. Therefore, I didn't expect this result. He's a half-step saint, and you're a saint. You're actually so proud of bullying a junior. Moreover, you've killed him. This has disrupted our plan." The woman flew into a rage. She grabbed the man's neck and beat him until he cried out in pain. Crackle. The crisp sound of the slap made everyone's jaws drop. What kind of situation was this? "That's enough, Ho Yenru. I'm a man. How can I face people if you slap my face in front of everyone? That's enough." Dizzy from the beating, the man suddenly roared. "What? Li Hongwang, you dare to yell at me? You dare to stop me?" Tears actually flickered in the woman's eyes when she heard this. "No, I'm just afraid of hurting your hand. So, I'll do it myself." The woman seemed to be on the verge of tears, and it instantly terrified the robust man. He'd lost all his pride as a man, and he'd given himself over 10 slaps instead. This caused everyone to be even more flabbergasted. They'd thought that the man would resist, but in the end, he was afraid of hurting the woman's hand. How could there be such a man in the world who's so afraid of his wife? "It's time for the two of you to end your little tricks." While they were talking, a cold and indifferent voice suddenly resounded from behind them. This voice caused them to be shocked, and they immediately turned around to look. The good-for-nothing young master was still seated on the ground, but a blue-robed young man had appeared behind him. Moreover, the blue-robed young man held a large sword, and it hung by the side of the young man's neck. "It's you. You're still alive? How could this be possible?" Both of them were stunned, and then they rubbed their eyes in succession. Because they'd watched the blue-robed young man die with their own 2 eyes. Yet now, the blue-robed young man was alive and kicking, and he even controlled the life and death of the good-for-nothing young master. They felt as if they'd seen a ghost. How could they have known that the one they'd killed earlier was merely an illusion? At that time, Lin Ling had activated the illusion god True Inheritance, and coupled with the speed of the wind technique, he'd quickly bypassed the man and won the battle in the end. Whoosh! Before the two of them could say anything, Lin Ling had killed the good-for-nothing young master. Before the young master died, he didn't say anything. Perhaps he'd already known that he'd offended such a big shot today, and if he didn't die, the entire city would be destroyed. In a world where the strong were respected, the strong had this kind of right. Not to mention that his opponent was the son of the demon whose name shook the 9 provinces. You've lost. After killing the young master, Lin Ling immediately sheathed his sword, turned around, and left. The two of them were still stunned, and then they kept shaking their heads. They hadn't expected that a sage stage expert would lose to the son of the demon in this battle. Moreover, this sage stage expert wasn't an ordinary sage. Wait, I actually came to find you today because I have something to invite you to. Seeing that Lin Ling was about to leave, Li Hongwang anxiously spoke. However, Lin Ling completely ignored him. He held Xiao Yu's hand and continued to walk forward. Wait! The woman also shouted, we have a plan that requires your participation. I don't know if you'll give us face. However, Lin Ling still ignored her. As a condition, I'll provide you with a piece of information that you'll definitely want to know. Seeing that Lin Ling was getting further and further away, Li Hongwang's face was filled with helplessness. He'd never seen such an arrogant half-sage stage expert who'd actually ignored him again and again. Your people from Qingzhou have come to Yunzhou and have been captured. I heard that Qingzhou's Emperor Qing is coming here to save those people from Qingzhou. However, Li Hongwang knew that if he didn't say anything, the son of the demon would really leave. Why should I believe you? Finally, Lin Ling stopped in his tracks. This made the two of them let out a sigh of relief. What a difficult person to please. Because after the ancient forbidden forest ended, Tianzhou's Emperor Qing still didn't leave. Not long ago, people from Qingzhou came here to look for you. In the end, they were discovered by Tianzhou's Emperor Qing and were captured alive. Then, he used them as a hostage to force Qingzhou's Emperor Qing to exchange for them. You should know that Qingzhou's Emperor Qing controls ancient powers. Therefore, even if he's not very strong, ordinary experts wouldn't dare to provoke him. Therefore, luring Qingzhou's Emperor Qing to Yunzhou was the best way. The two of them continued to speak. Hearing this, Lin Ling's eyes flashed, but he was still cautious. Why do you know all this? What's your purpose? What an overly cautious guy. Chapter 3203. Restart the deity slaying plan. As for why we are helping you, it is because we want you to join us in a plan. As for the person who was captured, we found out that he is a junior named Lin Yi. Lin Ling narrowed his eyes when he heard that. When they saw Lin Ling's expression, they immediately knew that Lin Yi must be related to the son of demon. Lin Yi appeared in Yunzhou because he wanted to find you. You may not know that there are rumors about you in Jiuzhou. Some said that they saw you in the east region, some said that you were in the north region. Anyway, as long as there are rumors about you, there will be several groups of people looking for you. Lin Yi seems to think that you are still in Yunzhou, so he wanted to enter the eternal forbidden forest. Finally, he was discovered by the Emperor of Heaven and was captured alive. In the end, Lin Ling was certain that the two of them were not lying to him. If it was really Lin Yi, he would definitely come to Yunzhou to find him. Moreover, we can help you save them. You should know that although you are powerful, you are relying on other trump cards. Your real combat strength is only at the Sage-to-be realm. Li Hongwang said. He had fought with Lin Ling before because he wanted to know Lin Ling's strength. As a condition, I hope you can join us in our plan. Yes. Li Hongwang said when he saw that Lin Ling was silent. What plan? Yes. Lin Ling frowned. Restart the deity-slaying plan. Yes. When they heard that, they looked at each other and finally told him their purpose. Deity-slaying plan. Yes. When Lin Ling heard that, his expression changed slightly. That's right. Because we have the same enemy, and there are many people who want to destroy God. We've formed an alliance, but we can't do anything to God. We've fought for many years, but to no avail. That's why our plan ended. However, not long ago, your God-slaying grand spell formation completely moved us. That's why we know that you're indispensable to our plan to destroy God. Yes. They said with a smile. They knew that Lin Ling was moved. Interesting, okay, I will join you. Yes. Lin Ling finally understood the purpose of their visit. As for the deity-slaying plan. Of course it was martial god Qilin. Wife, he finally joined. Seeing this, Li Hongwang laughed excitedly. The woman beside him also heaved a sigh of relief. She had finally managed to pull the son of the devil into her camp. However, in order to recruit this guy, they had put in a lot of effort. Of course, with the name of the son of the devil, it was all worth it. Let's save the people first. Then I'll take you to see the other people who have joined the plan. Oh right, you've already met one of them, and he has a very high opinion of you. Li Hongwang continued, if he knew that you were still alive, he would definitely be very happy. Oh, I have? Hearing that, Lin Ling was curious. You'll see when the time comes, wife. Get ready to work. Li Hongwang shouted excitedly, but the woman next to him slapped him fiercely. I told you, don't call me wifey outside, call me by my name. I'm sorry, wife, I know I was wrong. Li Hongwang held his cheeks and said pitifully, but as soon as he finished speaking, another slap landed on his face. This made Lin Ling shake his head and laugh. This guy was tall and strong, but he was unexpectedly henpecked. Even Xiao Yu began to giggle. The few of them quickly left the ancient city and headed in another direction. That was obviously the core area of the Cloud State. The Cloud State was below the Spirit State, but because it was in the territory of the Cloud Emperor, Lin Ling alone could not shake the Cloud Emperor. As for the Sky Emperor? Not long ago in the Demon Metropolis, this guy repeatedly framed Lin Ling, and Lin Ling had long wanted to kill him. Moreover, in the Cloud State, that guy could not use his ancient power anymore. Lin Ling and Xiao Yu stayed in an inn. Lin Ling carried the little white rabbit and the little deer to bed, then covered Xiao Yu with a blanket. Just as he was about to leave, he saw Xiao Yu looking at him with bright eyes. Xiao Yu, what's wrong? Nothing, I can't sleep. Seeing Xiao Yu's cute appearance, Lin Ling immediately knew that Xiao Yu must be thinking about what happened during the day. This was because in Xiao Yu's heart, Lin Ling was the big brother next door, bright and cheerful. However, today, Lin Ling's demonic aura clearly shocked her greatly. Lin Ling shook his head helplessly. In his life, he had learned martial arts, and he had killed countless people. Are you thinking about what happened during the day? You're a little scared of Big Brother. Of course not. Xiao Yu anxiously said, as if she was afraid that Lin Ling would misunderstand. Lin Ling immediately smiled and stroked Xiao Yu's smooth forehead, saying, Xiao Yu, your grandpa is right. Big Brother Lin Ling is not a good person, and he has killed many people in his life. He doesn't want you to be with me because he is afraid that I will lead you astray. However, Xiao Yu, don't worry. No matter what kind of person I am, even if I am the great demon of the 9 states, in front of Xiao Yu, I am the big brother who will protect Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu, you just need to live a happy life. Big Brother will take care of all the dirty things for you. After saying this, Lin Ling smiled and left. The lights in the room were turned off, but Xiao Yu's big eyes were shining. She hugged the rabbit next to her and said, Little white rabbit, I don't think Big Brother is bad at all. However, the little white rabbit had already fallen asleep and was snoring. I can't see, I can't see. I didn't see Big Brother Lin Ling kill people. He is my good friend who played with me on the grassland. Then, Xiao Yu comforted herself and gradually fell asleep as well. Early the next morning, the ancient city was bustling with noise and excitement. The martial artists of the Cloud State were all walking towards a huge square. This was because 3 days ago, Emperor Yun had sent out a message that he was going to form an alliance between the Cloud State, the Sky State, and the Qing State. This was great news for the Cloud State. According to Emperor Yun's message, as long as the alliance was successful, the Cloud State would receive many cultivation resources from the Qing State. Although the Qing State was the weakest in the 9 states, it was still one of the divine lands. Naturally, there were many cultivation resources there. Let's hope it works. I heard that Emperor Qing wants Emperor Yun's help and wants the Cloud State to protect the Qing State. That's why he made this request. This Emperor Qing wants our help but doesn't want to pay. Isn't he thinking too highly of himself? Yeah, I heard from the Yun residents that Emperor Qing only gives US 1/3 of his cultivation resources every year. In my opinion, he should give us half. As they walked along the main road, the people discussed animatedly. Moreover, when they thought of the Qing State asking for their help, they felt a sense of superiority. On a huge square, all the strong martial artists of the Cloud State had gathered. 3 high platforms were located in 3 different directions of the square. On them sat the emperor gods of each state. They sat there quietly, making the square extremely silent. This was because the aura of the emperor gods was quietly spreading, making people feel as if they could not look directly at them. Today, we are indebted to the 2 emperor gods for coming to the Cloud State as guests. This is the blessing of the Cloud State. Chapter 3204. Translator, Nyoibo Studio. Fate really wasn't that convincing. The one who spoke was a man in a dragon robe. He sat on the dragon throne with his eyes half closed and sipped his tea. His action seemed simple but it carried a domineering aura. He was Emperor Yun of the Cloud State. Today we have formed an alliance. In the future, the 3 emperors will definitely rule over the 9 states. The Divine Prefecture, where we are located, will definitely rise in ranking. I have this confidence. Next, a man in a white dragon robe spoke. It was the Celestial Emperor of Tianzhou. Their words had undoubtedly stirred up Yunzhou. The 9 prefectures were ranked. Their Cloud Prefecture, Sky Prefecture, and Qing Prefecture were ranked at the bottom. Therefore, when they saw the other Divine Prefecture martial artists, they more or less felt inferior. But in the future, their Cloud Prefecture would also be ranked at the top. This was naturally something to be happy about. What a shameless person. On the 3rd seat, the 3rd princess said in a low voice, her face expressionless. If we hadn't captured Lin Yi, we wouldn't have come here personally. Also, the alliance is just taking advantage of our Qingzhou. They didn't pay us anything at all. Instead, we have to pay them a salary every year, said an old woman angrily. She was Grandma Wen Dao. It was obvious that Qingzhou had been forced into this. Because if they did not come, or even if they did not agree, then Lin Yi would die. Emperor Qing, what do you think? As though they knew that the 3rd princess was unwilling, the 2 god emperors cast their gazes over. Hearing this, the 3rd princess and the others were even more furious, but they didn't say anything. Men, bring out the spy of the 9 states 10 rapscallions. This person wanted to disrupt the order of the 9 states, but he was discovered by Emperor Yun's divine eye. In order to save the people of the 9 states, Emperor Yun personally captured this spy. Today, this spy will be beheaded in public and let the people of the 9 states know that the 9 states can be safe with our Emperor Yun around. The Celestial the Arch suddenly yelled. In the middle of the square, an iron cage slowly rose up. Inside the cage was a young man who looked extremely weak. He was Lin Yi. Clearly, the Celestial Emperor saw that the third princess was hesitating, so he deliberately made an example of the third princess to force her to agree. Bastard! Seeing the weak Lin Yi, Grandma Wen Dao and the third princess's eyes turned red. At this moment, they had no choice but to agree. Hee, that's a nice way to put it. Your era is coming. However, I heard that in the Eternal Forbidden Forest, Sky Emperor of Tianzhou and Emperor Yun of Yunzhou have become other people's dogs. Since they are made to be dogs, there is no future for them. But at this moment, a mocking voice suddenly sounded from the silent crowd. When Emperor Yun and the Sky Emperor heard that, their eyes flashed with anger. The warriors of the Cloud State were naturally enraged because the intruder had called their Emperor Yun a dog. Nobody's talking? Or was it a silent agreement? The alliance of the three great divine continents made Qingzhou pay the price, but you guys only want to reap the benefits. How can you guys be so thick-skinned and say such things? Amidst the silence, the voice rang out again. Yunzhou was even more furious. Who was it that was so arrogant as to reprimand two great god emperors in front of the entire Cloud region? Sir, why are you acting so sneakily? Do you only dare to speak in the dark? Moreover, the alliance of the three great divine continents is a matter of fate. No one can change it. However, before Emperor Yun could speak, the warriors of Yunzhou had already started scolding. That's right, this is a matter of fate. Yunzhou will definitely become the pinnacle of the 9 states in the future. Emperor Yun will surpass the two great god emperors of Miao State and Yen State and rule over the 9 states. This is also the son of heaven's fate. Then, the voices in the square became louder and louder. Come out if you dare. An old man floated up and looked around the crowd for the person who had spoken. If I come out, I'm afraid the two god emperors will be wary of me. However, when the crowd thought that the troublemaker would not dare to speak again, the disdainful voice floated up again. Shameless boasting. The crowd roared and snorted in their hearts. The intruder was so stupid. He was about to die and yet he was still so arrogant. Sir, you may have a good reputation somewhere, but you seem to treat Yunzhou as your home. Fate is the most mysterious thing. You may be above everyone in one moment, but the next moment, you will die. This is the fate of taking a wrong step. At this moment, Cloud Emperor finally spoke. Is that so? Then let me ask you. What is the fate of the young man in the cage? Just as Emperor Yun finished speaking, another voice floated out from the crowd. What was surprising was that this voice was very faint, as if it floated out from every corner of the square. His fate is death. This time, Emperor Yun did not speak. Emperor Tian spoke coldly. All the land under the heavens belongs to the emperor. In Yunzhou, Emperor Yun's words are the will of the heavens. He can summon the heroes to defy the heavens and change their fate. At the end of his speech, the celestial emperor stood up, and the aura of a saint surged out from him. The square was instantly in an uproar. The martial artists looked at the two god emperors with admiration. It was as if the two god emperors had already led them to the peak of the 9 states. Suddenly, the voice in the square also quieted down. The third princess and Grandma Wen Dao frowned. They had to admit that they admired the person who dared to speak. However, in Yunzhou, it was useless no matter what the person said because the martial artists of Yunzhou were naturally on Emperor Yun's side. Therefore, the outcome of arguing with Emperor Yun would be miserable. What's wrong? You don't dare to speak? Come out, didn't you say you don't believe in fate? Yunzhou is telling you, no matter where you hide, as long as you're in Yunzhou, you can't escape. Seeing that the voice was silent, the martial artists of Yunzhou looked around, trying to find the person who was courting death. However, the voice remained silent. Emperor Yun smiled disdainfully. He's just a clown. Everyone, ignore him. His fate has already been decided by me. After today's matter, he will die without a doubt. Emperor Yun, Emperor Yun. Hearing that, the people shouted in admiration. I'm sorry, fate really doesn't have much persuasion for me. However, at this moment, the voice that seemed to have disappeared suddenly sounded again. Moreover, the crowd was forcefully separated and shot into the sky like fireworks. Those martial artists seemed to have been thrown out alive. Then, a slender figure walked out, holding the hand of a little girl. When this person appeared, the martial artists of Yunzhou were undoubtedly furious. Fate really doesn't have much persuasion for me. How domineering was this sentence? Looking down on fate and challenging fate, this was the worst kind of person who did not know what was good for him. However, the eyes of Emperor Yun and the rest trembled violently when they saw the person who had come. As for the third princess and the rest, they stood up in shock and said in disbelief, "Little Li, master." Under everyone's gaze, Lin Ling smiled, held Xiaoyu's hand, and walked out step by step. Chapter 3205. Translator, Nyoibo Studio. Stomp on the cloud state. How dare you? Who the hell are you? Finally, someone let out a cry of surprise and looked towards the two emperor gods. However, what terrified them the most was that the two god emperors didn't move at all. Instead, their faces were filled with shock and paleness. This time, Cloud Prefecture fell silent. Because to be able to make two god emperors suddenly stop talking, this person was obviously not simple. They suddenly remembered what this person had said before. If I come out, even these two god emperors will be wary of me. Right now, everything was as such. Lin Ling, on the other hand, was still as calm as ever. However, he drew his sword with his right hand and ruthlessly slashed at the cage. With a cracking sound, the cage was cut into two halves, revealing the unconscious youth. This caused everyone to be shocked once again. This was because Cloud Emperor had said that the fate of the captured young man was death. Yet now, the person who came personally saved him, breaking his fate once again. Emperor Yun. Everyone hurriedly looked at Emperor Yun. Could it be that Emperor Yun was going to let them do whatever they wanted? However, Emperor Yun continued to stare at the newcomer in silence. No one knew what he was thinking. Let me. Seeing that Cloud Emperor remained silent, an expert from Cloud State finally made his move. Although this person was a half-saint, there were many half-saints in the Cloud Prefecture. Rumble. A large number of half-step saints shot out and unleashed their ultimate techniques one after another. The saints' light seemed to envelop the entire Cloud Prefecture. I can see your fate clearly. That is death. Almost at the same time, Lin Ling also opened his mouth. He gently lifted his foot and stomped heavily on the ground. Boom! The power of 600 worlds fused with the four great Dantians, and a shocking explosion erupted. There were also the four ferocious realm-swallowing beasts and dragon god Qi. With this stomp, the entire Cloud State was crushed. With Lin Ling as the center, the earth cracked open. The soil was like a tidal wave that rushed outwards. Gradually, the core city of Yunzhou collapsed like a domino. As for those half-saints that had charged over, all of them were blasted flying by the ferocious force, and then their bodies exploded apart in midair. This step was clearly stomping on the cheeks of everyone in the Cloud State. The faces of the Cloud State cultivators all turned red, as if they had seen their father's murderer. How many years has it been since they've been humiliated like this? Plus, the opponent was only one person. One person dared to humiliate the entire Yunzhou? Those experts couldn't hold back their anger and charged forward once again. Even if they had to use the human wave tactic, they still wanted to kill this person. Stop. However, at this moment, a majestic voice finally sounded. It was the voice of Cloud Emperor. This made everyone's jaws drop. These people were so arrogant, but Emperor Yun actually asked them to stop. Son of the devil, the Cloud State has no grudge against you. Why are you treating us like this? However, Emperor Yun ignored the crowd. Instead, he stared at Lin Ling and said solemnly. As soon as he said that, everyone fell silent. The son of the devil. This young man was actually the son of the devil. Wasn't he dead? At this moment, those who had been hooting earlier were like ducks that had been grabbed by the neck. No wonder even Emperor Yun was wary of him. It turned out that Emperor Yun had to give him face because of his reputation as the son of the demon. Because today, I'm here to decide your fate. Lin Ling looked at Emperor Yun and spoke softly. Then I wonder what our fate will be. Hearing this, Emperor Yun frowned and asked. Death. Lin Ling shrugged as if he was talking about the most normal thing in the world. However, as soon as he spoke, the entire sky of Yunzhou was filled with murderous intent. Emperor Yun and Emperor Tian exchanged glances. Their expressions were unusually ugly. What was surprising was that they didn't explode in anger. Son of the demon, we have no grudge against you. Why do you want us to die? Your enemy is the saintess from the Temple of the Immortals, the Heavenly Court. Emperor Tian said again. It was obvious that he didn't dare to challenge Lin Ling. Because in Tianzhou, he had already suffered at the hands of Lin Ling. In the Forbidden Forest, he personally witnessed how terrifying Lin Ling was. In other words, even if they had the confidence to kill Lin Ling, they wouldn't be much better off. No grudge? Hearing this, Lin Ling laughed. In the ancient Forbidden Forest, the Heavenly Emperor had bewitched the experts of the 9 prefectures to kill him twice. Lin Ling had witnessed it for himself. Now, Emperor Yun had the nerve to say that he had no grudge against him. I just want to kill you. So what? Lin Ling didn't bother to explain. He shrugged and said, I don't need a reason to kill you. You. Hearing those domineering words, the Celestial Emperor was undoubtedly angered again. Then when did I offend you? Emperor Yun seemed to have a good relationship with Emperor Yun. However, at this time, he didn't want to get into trouble. Then do you know who this young man is? Lin Ling suddenly looked at Lin Yi. Emperor Yun was confused. He had listened to Emperor Yun and captured this person. However, he didn't know who this person was. It seems like you've been used as a tool. Let me tell you. He is my son, Lin Yi. Seeing this, Lin Ling said word by word. His words were like thunder on a sunny day. Emperor Yun's body trembled. Son. The son of the demonic son? He knew that things were going to get troublesome. This was because he had wanted to kill the son of the demonic son. With how crazy the demonic son was, he wouldn't let it go. After all, the demonic son was a crazy demon who didn't even fear the gods. Emperor Yun, why didn't you tell me about this? Emperor Yun turned and looked at Emperor Yun angrily. It was Emperor Yun's idea to capture Lin Yi. I thought the son of the demon was dead. That's why I suggested it. Moreover, if we capture this person, the Azure Emperor will definitely come personally. Weren't you very tempted by this alliance back then? Heaven Emperor said expressionlessly. If I knew he was the son of the demonic son, I wouldn't have captured him. Emperor Yun, you've killed me. Emperor Yun was furious. If it weren't for the enemy, he would have taught Emperor Yun a lesson. Stop arguing. Both of you are going to die. While the two were arguing, Lin Ling interrupted them and reminded them, the enemy is right in front of you. Don't you think you're letting the enemy off easy by fighting among yourselves? When these words came out, the two emperor gods finally reacted. However, their hearts were pounding. If an ordinary person saw this scene, they would definitely not say anything. They would just watch the two emperor gods fight among themselves. However, the demonic son had reminded them. This kind of confidence, this kind of arrogance, it was impossible not to be surprised. Master, you're so powerful. Third princess, Grandma Wendao, and the others smiled and hurried towards Lin Ling. Behind them were the experts from Green State. They were all overjoyed. Because they knew that the composed young man was shockingly the Azure Emperor who stood behind the scenes in Pine Prefecture. However, they never expected the Emperor Qing behind the scenes to be so powerful. He alone was enough to make two emperor gods of the Divine Prefecture so fearful. Third princess, Grandma Wendao, take Lin Yi away. I'll deal with them. Lin Ling looked at the two of them and smiled. He also asked Xiao Yu to follow third princess. However, Xiao Yu shook her head. She hugged the little rabbit and led the little deer. She looked a little shy. Brother, I won't go. I'll stay here and watch you. Chapter 3206. Go all out. Lin Ling then turned to look at the celestial arch. The Sky Emperor also looked at Lin Ling. He knew that a battle of life and death was inevitable. Lin Ling, don't be too arrogant. If you really want to kill me, you may not succeed. Although the Sky Emperor had repeatedly suffered losses in front of Lin Ling, he knew of Lin Ling's trump cards. First, the God's Boat. Second, the God's Enchantment Array. Third, the God's Sword. But at present, the first two trump cards weren't here. As for the God's Sword, it consumed one's vitality. Lin Ling had used it once before, so he shouldn't dare to use it again. I really don't think it's that difficult. Hearing this, Lin Ling smiled. From head to toe, terrifying boundary essence began to erupt, like a tide, like clouds. He stretched out his right hand, and the Tyrant Song sword appeared in his hand. Without wasting any time, the 60% demon sword step slashed out. Following that, Lin Ling pulled back his sword, drew his bow, and shot 4 arrows. The spacetime divine steel also came crashing down from the sky. And Lin Ling, who had unleashed all of his firepower, was without a doubt extremely terrifying. The martial artists of Cloud State were scared silly. He's gotten stronger again. The Heavenly Emperor's expression changed drastically as he unleashed all of his ultimate techniques. He was at the second heaven of the Saint Realm, and he hoped that he could stop Lin Ling with his cultivation. But in reality, he didn't have much confidence. Because he had witnessed the battle in the ancient Forbidden Forest. Rumble. Of course, when a person was close to death, their potential was indeed stronger than usual. After using his full strength and even his trump card, he actually managed to block Lin Ling's all-out attack. Ha ha ha, Lin Ling, you can't do anything to me. The Celestial the Arch was laughing maniacally, but there was also blood seeping from the corners of his mouth. It was clear that he had swallowed a poisonous substance that burned away his vitality in order to enhance his offensive power. Really? Seeing this, Lin Ling was also slightly shocked. However, he could also see that the Sky Emperor had borrowed some forbidden medicine. It could be said that as long as Lin Ling could hold the Sky Emperor back, the Sky Emperor would undoubtedly die. You can actually block so well? Let's see how long you can block for. Lin Ling coldly spat out these words. His surroundings became illusory, and the world within several thousand miles changed. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, chaos, and even the age of gods, Lu Xian appeared one after another. This move shocked the entire Cloud State. Illusion. Emperor Yun and the Celestial Emperor exclaimed in unison. So what if you know? Can you break it? Lin Ling disappeared into the illusion, causing the illusory world to be filled with Lin Ling. Furthermore, every Lin Ling was firing at full power, bombarding the heavenly emperor. And this time, the celestial emperor panicked. Although he knew that these were all illusions, he could not tell which were real and which were fake. He could only engage in a chaotic battle. And such a chaotic battle would only continue to consume his life force. After all, the poison did not last long. On the other hand, thousands of miles away, people could see that the Sky Emperor was like a madman, attacking everywhere. However, there was no one around him at all. Under the Sky Emperor's crazy attacks, many martial artists in Cloud State were implicated by the Sky Emperor's means and were blown to death. As time passed, the Sky Emperor became more and more panicked. "Emperor Yun, save me." Emperor Yun's expression was extremely solemn. He was also frightened by Lin Ling's means. Those illusions were too heaven-defying. It could probably torture an expert to the point of insanity. And now, should he make a move? If he did not make a move, he would be next after the Sky Emperor died. If he made a move, he might completely offend Lin Ling. "Emperor Yun, if you make a move, I can guarantee that you will die faster than the Sky Emperor." As if sensing Emperor Yun's hesitation, Lin Ling placed his hands behind his back and said plainly. His words made Emperor Yun's thoughts even more chaotic. His face turned red. The martial artists in Cloud State also knew Emperor Yun's scruples, but they could not take it lying down. This was because the demonic sun had dominated the entire Cloud State alone. This was a great humiliation to them. "Emperor Yun, make your move. He will kill you sooner or later. Why are you still afraid of him?" "That's right. If the two celestial emperors join forces, they might be able to kill him. He is confusing you because if the Sky Emperor dies, the demonic sun will have nothing to fear. This is all part of his scheme." The martial artists in Cloud State shouted one after another. These words made Emperor Yun's body tremble. That's right. If Lin Ling could kill him, he would have done so long ago. Why wait here? Obviously, Lin Ling could only barely kill the Sky Emperor. If the two celestial emperors joined forces, Lin Ling would definitely be defeated. Moreover, he still had the ancient power. Thinking of this, his eyes lit up and his lips curled into a cold smile. Lin Ling naturally noticed that smile as well. He shook his head regretfully and said, "Looks like you're going to die even faster than the Sky Emperor." "Ha! Demonic Sun, I have seen through your scheme. Are you still trying to intimidate others? Your strength is only barely enough to defeat the Sky Emperor. That's why you are afraid of us joining forces. You are even more afraid of my ancient power, am I right?" Emperor Yun floated up, looking majestic. However, his long hair was loose and he looked like he had gone mad. Perhaps, this was the most difficult decision in his life. It was also the most difficult battle. Therefore, he became hysterical. "Demonic Sun, you have lost. You will die in Cloud State today. Now that I have seen through your scheme, you should be afraid and regretting it." Ha ha ha. Emperor Yun opened his arms. He did not use his own strength, but summoned his ancient power. This was the safest way to kill Lin Ling. "Emperor Yun, kill him." Sensing the godlike power in the sky, the warriors of Cloud State were in high spirits. "Don't worry. I will kill him. I will kill him. I will kill him." Emperor Yun seemed to be determined. He roared, "Demonic Sun, it's time for you to admit that you can't kill me." Ha ha ha. The sky gradually darkened as a gigantic palace descended from the heavens, suppressing all living beings in the world. This ancient power was definitely stronger than the one summoned by the Lotus Arch. It was even stronger than what Lin Ling saw in Spirit State. Of course, because Spirit State had the Mi and Xian sects, Lin Ling saw the ancient power of the Xian sect master. If he added the ancient power of the Tantra sect master, it was definitely stronger than Cloud State's. Master. Looking at the dark clouds above the divine palace, the third princess was a little worried. Third princess, don't disturb him. That kid won't die so easily. Beside her, Grandma Wen Dao said sternly. However, her eyes flickered because she did not have such confidence. It was also because the current Lin Ling's strength had exceeded Grandma Wen Dao's understanding. And this was the kid from the rainforest sacred land. However, under their voices, Lin Ling still had his hands behind his back and was indifferent. Brother. Even Xiao Yu began to worry. The mark of wind and rain had quietly appeared between her brows. It was extremely mysterious. Looking at Emperor Yun, he was still roaring like a madman. Most importantly, he saw that Lin Ling did not counterattack. Therefore, he thought that Lin Ling had given up. Chapter 3207. That doesn't mean others can't kill you. Ha ha ha, son of the demon, you may not have said anything, but you've admitted that you can't kill me. Fate wants you dead, so you'll die today. Emperor Yun's voice grew louder and louder. The ancient palace was only 1,000 miles away from Lin Ling. Fate isn't convincing at all. But at this moment, Lin Ling finally spoke. Attack! Just as he finished speaking, two strange figures suddenly appeared behind Emperor Yun. One of them held a long spear. When the spear struck, plum blossoms fluttered. The other held a large saber. When the saber struck, it split the heavens. These were two Sage Realm experts, and they were attacking Emperor Yun at the same time. The ancient power that Emperor Yun controlled was now focused on Lin Ling. He couldn't block it at all. His expression instantly changed greatly. His mood was extremely terrible at this moment. He knew that he might die faster than the Sky Emperor. Was this fate? I've been fooled. Emperor Yun let out a roar, feeling extremely indignant. Actually, what you said before was right. I admit that I can't kill you, but that doesn't mean others can't. On the ground, Lin Ling shrugged his shoulders and said. After he spoke, the two sages' attacks had already arrived. They were extremely sharp and cut through the heavens. Emperor Yun was cut in half in front of countless people. His head was even pierced through by the spear. Emperor Yun was dead. This result was too quick. The martial artists in Cloud State didn't seem to be able to react. In fact, if Emperor Yun was wary of these two, he wouldn't have died. Unfortunately, the ancient power was targeting Lin Ling. After Emperor Yun died, the ancient power in the sky suddenly shook. Then, as if it had lost its master, it floated towards the heavens. Looking at Lin Ling again, he still had his hands behind his back and his eyebrows twitched. Under his soul, the illusions in the distance all disappeared, revealing a man covered in blood, who looked like a demonic person. The terrifying thing was that this man's body continued to swell. His skin looked like it was filled with bubbles. Obviously, this man had swallowed the poison left behind by the gods and suffered side effects. And he was the Sky Emperor. At this moment, the Sky Emperor was still conscious. He stared at Lin Ling on the ground, shocked. Emperor Yun, kill him. Kill him. He screamed in panic. This was because his poison had reached its peak. Even if Lin Ling didn't kill him, he would explode and die. But before he died, he could see Lin Ling die with him. That was worth it. However, after his voice, Cloud State was silent. Emperor Yun. Emperor Yun. The Heavenly Emperor was still shouting, but his voice was becoming increasingly weak. Moreover, as he stared at the martial artists in the distance, he discovered that their faces were extremely pale. This also caused him to be filled with incredulous thoughts. This thought made him shake his head, as if he couldn't accept it. Stop shouting, he-s the first time you go. However, Lin Ling forced him to witness the truth with his own eyes and tell him personally where Emperor Yun had gone. Impossible, Emperor Yun has the power of the primordial age. This sentence was the last straw that broke the camel's back. The Sky Emperor became hysterical. Poisonous blood began to spurt out of his body. When it landed on the ground was corroded. The poison floated in the air. Even a whiff of it would cause the body of a bystander to rot and die. The most terrifying thing was that this poison wouldn't disappear for 1,000 years. It would spread in the wind forever. You'd better take care of yourself. If I were you, I would have rushed into the chaos of the universe. I wouldn't implicate any more innocent people. Lin Ling didn't explain anything. Instead, he laughed. Hearing that, the Sky Emperor's last hope completely collapsed. He screamed in pain, "I beg you, kill me, kill me." His whole body became distorted. His face was full of fist-sized blood blisters that kept expanding. It was a terrifying sight. I forgot to tell you. In fact, I just happen to know how to neutralize the poison that you use to increase your strength. Lin Ling had already left with Xiao Yu and the others. Save me. Hearing that, the Sky Emperor seemed to have grasped at his last straw. I won't save you. You're bluffing. However, Lin Ling walked further and further away. The Sky Emperor was stunned in the sky. His eyes were filled with despair. Boom! Finally, his body exploded and turned into a green cloud that was thousands of miles wide. It rolled and scattered with the wind. Obviously, Cloud State was facing a great calamity. For 1,000 years, this area would be a forbidden land for the dead. After the Sky Emperor's poison broke out, Lin Ling and the others naturally left Cloud State immediately. Not long after, they appeared in the chaos of the universe. Xiao Li. When Grandma Wendao saw that they were completely safe, she immediately pounced on Lin Ling and hugged Lin Ling. "I missed you so much. Come, give me a kiss. Kiss my lips, not my face." Grandma Wendao was still the same as before. When she saw Lin Ling, she couldn't help but want to tease him. The third princess and the others immediately giggled. What an annoying old granny. Xiao Yu looked at Grandma Wendao with disgust and jealousy. Only Lin Ling looked helpless. In the end, he gently kissed Grandma Wendao's wrinkled face. How disappointing. Why don't you kiss me? But, Xiao Li, is this really a kiss of love? Don't tell me you're going to marry me? Grandma Wendao was still teasing Lin Ling. Granny. Lin Ling couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Although he was extremely powerful now, in front of Grandma Wendao, he was still that brat from the sacred rainforest. Alright, I won't tease you anymore. What's this little girl's background? After Grandma Wendao smiled, she stared at Xiao Yu and squatted down to pick her up. Annoying. Xiao Yu hid behind Lin Ling and hugged Lin Ling's leg. She even pulled Little Rabbit and Little Deer to her side, as if afraid that Grandma Wendao would snatch them away. Oh, this little girl is really stubborn. She only wants my Xiao Li, but this little girl's taste is not bad. Grandma Wendao frowned and didn't continue. She sensed that although this little girl didn't seem strong, she was hiding an extremely mysterious power. Therefore, if she angered this little girl, she might give her a blow and break her old bones. Third princess, Grandma Wendao, you guys go back first. I'm going to the spirit state. You and the rest are waiting for me. I don't want them to worry too much. Lin Ling also cut to the chase. After he finished speaking, he took out the Nether Dragon Half-Life liquid and gave each of them 3 drops. Those treasures naturally made everyone happy. They knew that every time they met Lin Ling, there would be benefits. Lin Ling had always been generous to his friends. This was also one of the reasons why they were willing to follow Lin Ling. "Master, are you leaving again? You're the Emperor Qing behind the scenes of the Green State." The third princess didn't care much about the treasures. Instead, she looked at Lin Ling with reluctance. "Go back. The Green State can't be without you. That's your territory." Chapter 3208. Translator, Nyoibo Studio. Back to the Spirit State. Third Princess, the Azure Monarch's throne is something that you earn through years of hard work. I know that you feel guilty because you are afraid of stealing my credit, but I can tell you that I am the realm monarch of the Spirit State. Lin Ling smiled faintly. He wouldn't stop until he was shocked to death. Sure enough, everyone sucked in a cold breath. The Spirit State was even bigger than the Cloud State. At this moment, the third princess no longer felt guilty. She knew that with her master's status, Qingzhou was not worthy of him. I didn't expect Little Li to become more and more powerful. Alright, you can go back first. You and the other girls should be worried these days. However, when we go to the Spirit Province next time, you have to do your best to protect us. Grandma Wen Dao said. Don't worry, Grandma. You only need to mention my name, Lin Ling, in the Spirit Province, and you can do whatever you want. Lin Ling waved his hand and left. Hearing those domineering words, the third princess and the others smiled excitedly. As for Lin Ling, he led the two saints, Lin Yi, and the others towards the Spirit Province. On this trip, Lin Ling also wanted to take the Divine Barrier Formation and restart the plan to destroy the gods. The Spirit State was incomparably peaceful with the presence of the Divine Barrier Formation. Even so, the warriors in the Spirit State were still on high alert. When Lin Ling and the others appeared in the sky, an oppressive atmosphere permeated the sky of the Spirit Province, causing Li Hongwang and Hou Yenru's expressions to change slightly. They looked at the ancient land and wondered if this was the place where gods had almost been wiped out. Son of the devil, god-slaying array? Li Hongwang looked at Lin Ling and said. Lin Ling nodded and smiled. This caused Li Hongwang and Hou Yenru's hearts to tremble. With their strength, they would likely be easily killed if they arrived here. Who is it? Just as the few of them were floating in the sky, an angry roar suddenly rang out. After that, a large number of half-saint realm experts flew over from afar. All of them wore neat armor, and there was a clear, secret character on their helmets. Clearly, they were from Tantric Buddhism. The security is quite tight. After all, the Spirit Province is so big. They noticed us as soon as we arrived. This level is quite good. Seeing this, Hou Yenru immediately praised. Her voice wasn't loud, but it wasn't soft either. So, it was naturally heard by those half-saints. Sir, you'd better tell us who you are. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Among the armored powerhouses, one of them let out a stern shout. Yo, you all are truly unyielding. Could it be that you all didn't see that we're all saint-level experts? Hearing that, Li Hongwang's face changed a little, because the person who came over scolded his wife, which made him feel very uncomfortable. After all, even he didn't dare to reprimand his wife, so what qualifications did these half-saints have? So what if you're at the saint stage? If you don't tell us where you came from, then don't blame us for being rude. But who would have thought that not only were those people not afraid, their attitude became even more ferocious. This caused Li Hongwang and the others' eyes to narrow. The cultivators of the Spirit State were indeed stubborn. Attack! Furthermore, seeing that the two of them were silent, the half-saints in front of them started attacking one after another. Seeing this, Li Hongwang and the others' faces were filled with anger. They were saint-level experts, but the half-saints were the ones who attacked first. Are they courting death? Wait! But soon, one of the sharp-eyed half-saints stared at the blue-robed young man, and his face changed drastically. "It's the realm monarch!" he exclaimed, and his voice caused the others to tremble. They looked carefully and only then did they realize that Lin Ling was among them. "Realm monarch, please punish us." The half-saints all knelt down on one knee. They actually attacked the realm monarch before this, which was an act of defiance against their superiors. Furthermore, Lin Ling was still alive, which made them extremely happy. They couldn't wait to inform the tantric sect of this news. "Oh God, we've made a huge mistake." They all knelt down on one knee willingly, waiting for Lin Ling's punishment. Lin Ling looked at them with a faint smile. He could guess what they were thinking. He smiled and said, "Rise, you are all innocent." His words caused the half-saints to raise their heads, and their faces changed drastically. Even though a half-saint would be courting death if he took the initiative to attack a saint. But your purpose was to prevent enemies from infiltrating the spirit state and destroying the array formation. Therefore, not only are you not guilty, you are also rewarded. When we return, I will mention your deeds to the tantric sect. Lin Ling said again. His words caused the half-saints to become excited, and some of them even had tears in their eyes. "All right, I'm in a hurry, so I'll take my leave first." Lin Ling smiled and led Li Hongwang and the others away. As expected of the realm monarch. The tantric sect's guards looked at Lin Ling's back with excitement. They didn't expect the legendary realm monarch to be so easygoing. "Everyone, open your eyes and protect the spirit state." The leader felt an endless sense of honor. After standing up, he couldn't help but roar. The others also did the same. The new realm monarch of the spirit state controlled the godly array formation all by himself and almost killed the gods. This news had spread like wildfire in the 9 continents, and it had greatly increased the spirit state's reputation. Therefore, not only did the realm monarch not punish them, he even praised them. How could they not be excited? "I didn't expect your reputation to be so high in the spirit state." At this moment, Li Hongwang was walking side by side with Lin Ling. He smiled and said, "Of course, you treat them like friends and family, and they will treat you the same way." Lin Ling looked afar. He had already treated the spirit state as his home. And now, he was back. "Father." At the same time, Lin Yi also woke up, and he looked at Lin Ling in shock. "It's good that you're awake. Now, I'll bring you to see your mother." Lin Ling couldn't help but smile excitedly. He then looked at Lin Yi, who was as tall as him, and sighed in relief. "Father." Lin Yi was still excited, and he quickly hugged Lin Ling. The two of them looked so similar that even Xiao Yu, who was beside them, rubbed the back of her head adorably. Not long after, a large number of people appeared in front of them. It was Xing Xiyun, Yu Yu, and the others. They saw Lin Ling from afar, and they were all overjoyed. "Huh, I knew it, my disciple will be fine. Brother Ling, Lin Ling." One after another, cries of surprise sounded in the sky of the spirit state. "Yu Yu! Mother!" Lin Ling and Lin Yi also quickly walked over. Xiao Yu was left behind, and she looked ahead curiously. "Are these people brother Lin Ling's family? It's good that you're back, it's good that you're back." Without a doubt, everyone surrounded Lin Ling. The tantric sages and Xing Xiyun were extremely excited. They looked at Lin Ling from head to toe, and when they realized that Lin Ling's strength had increased, they were even more relieved. Looking at everyone, Lin Ling was also in a good mood. He also roughly told them what happened in the ancient Forbidden Forest. Chapter 3209. The Pace of Revenge. I also believe in Sister Yu, Unfortunately, I was still unable to bring Big Sister Yu, back this time. Yu Yu and Xian Yuan Gu sighed. Their eyes were also a little moist. And they had known each other since they were very, very young. They had gone through many ups and downs together. Who would have thought that they would still be separated today? What was even more unexpected was that a girl from the rainforest Holy Land was now the saintess of the 9 prefectures Vicious 10. All of this was hard to accept. Don't worry, I'll bring her back next time. Lin Ling promised Yu and the others. Everyone quickly landed on the ground, appearing on a huge plain and walking towards the valley. Brother Ling, who is this little girl? Yu finally saw the timid girl beside Lin Ling. Xiao Yu, my savior. Lin Ling led Xiao Yu out and introduced her to everyone. So cute. Xian Yuan Gu saw Xiao Yu holding the little white rabbit in one hand and the little deer in the other. Her porcelain doll-like face made Xian Yuan Gu's heart skip a beat. She wanted to pick up the little girl. However, Xiao Yu was still afraid of strangers. She quickly took a step back and hid behind Lin Ling. This caused everyone to be astonished. Little Yu has always lived in the ancient forbidden forest with Grandpa, so she is a little afraid of strangers. Lin Ling was also somewhat helpless toward Xiao Yu. This little girl was very clingy to him. Xiao Yu, don't be afraid. I'm big sister Gu. Xian Yuan Gu still seemed somewhat unwilling. However, Xiao Yu did not give her any face at all. Not only did she not walk out, she almost hugged Lin Ling's thigh. Seeing this, everyone was amused by the cute Xiao Yu. However, they did not pester Xiao Yu anymore. Generally speaking, this kind of shy little girl would not accept others without a certain amount of time. After everyone arrived at the valley, they entered the guest hall. The master of Tantric Buddhism looked at Li Hongwang and Xian Yuan Gu and realized that these two were not weak. They were probably only slightly weaker than him. Lin Ling, these two are. Xing Shiyun also looked at the two curiously. Most importantly, he felt that these two people were somewhat familiar. Li Hongwang, Ho Yenru. Lin Ling hurriedly introduced them and explained the purpose of their visit. The immortal couple. Unexpectedly, when Xing Shiyun heard their names, she cried out in surprise. Clearly, he did know these two people. Senior, you must be one of the 4 heavenly kings of the spirit state, Xing Xiuyun. Ho Yenru, she was the first to speak. In the past, we once roamed the Yan province, so we met Senior Xing Shiyun. Li Hongwang explained. This made Lin Ling and the others nod in realization. Lin Ling, are you going to destroy the gods again? Meanwhile, the master of Tantric Buddhism looked at Lin Ling sternly. Destroying the gods meant destroying the heavenly court. However, it was not a trivial matter. After all, they had prepared so much previously, but martial god Qilin still managed to escape. It was obvious how powerful martial god Qilin was. Don't worry, master of Tantric Buddhism. Our alliance has been around for 300 years. We're familiar with the heavenly court. Each of us has a blood feud with the heavenly court. However, martial god Qilin is too powerful. We haven't been able to find a way to deal a fatal blow to him. However, the son of the demon has the deity slaying formation. If he uses it at a crucial moment, it's not impossible to slay the gods. Li Hongwang said with a smile. However, after slaying the gods, we'll be hunted down by Luli Empress. When that happens, we'll have to stay away from the limelight. Besides, you don't have to worry about Luli Empress attacking the spirit state. She won't be able to swallow her pride. Also, the deity-slaying alliance is quite reputable in the 9 continents. We're the only alliance that dares to go against the heavenly court. Everyone knows that. Therefore, if Luli Empress attacks you, she'll be condemned by everyone. If she really wants to take revenge, she'll be looking for us, not the others. Ho Yenru continued to speak. Lin Ling felt a lot more relieved after hearing that. Luli Empress. She must be Tian Lioli. She should be at the peak of the 9 continents, the Yen state and Miao state. Lin Ling still had to look up to her. Since that's the case, there's no time to lose. I'm going to take the deity's boundary formation away. However, I'll leave the divine boat here. If anything happens, you just have to hide in the divine boat. At that time, even the martial ancestor won't be able to break through unless he spends an endless amount of time on the divine boat. Lin Ling was decisive. This was the best opportunity for him to take revenge. Alright, Lin Ling, you must be careful. The Tantric sect's lord and Xingxian looked at Lin Ling and said. In the following days, Lin Ling accompanied his family while dismantling the deity's boundary formation. During this period of time, Lin Ling was the happiest and most relaxed. It was a pity that An Yuer wasn't around. Otherwise, he wouldn't have any regrets. As for Xiao Yu, she wasn't as shy as she used to be. She had gotten along well with Yu Yu and the others. Of course, although Xiao Yu had accepted Yu Yu and the others, she still had to see Lin Ling every day. It was as if Lin Ling was her grandfather. She would feel uncomfortable if she didn't see him for a day. Yu Yu, Lin Ling, and the rest felt extremely helpless about this. However, Lin Ling remembered his promise to Xiao Yu's grandfather. He wanted Xiao Yu to stay by his side. Meanwhile, the 9 continents had also become famous as the demonic sun. That was because the heavenly emperor and Emperor Yun had been killed. This had temporarily shaken the 9 continents. In an instant, the demonic sun had become famous. On this day, Lin Ling had completely dismantled the 9 ancient gods' formation. Now, he only needed to find a suitable place to set up the formation. Then, he could wait for martial god Qilin to arrive. Therefore, Lin Ling bid farewell to everyone and left. However, Xiao Yu was extremely stubborn. She insisted on following Lin Ling. This made Lin Ling feel helpless. Xiao Yu, what Brother Ling is going to do is very dangerous. If you stay by his side, Brother Ling won't be able to take care of you. Sister Yu Yu, I can take care of myself. I can also take care of Brother Ling. Grandfather said that before he returns, I can't leave Brother Ling's side. Hearing those words, Yu Yu and the others knew that Xiao Yu was determined to follow Lin Ling. In the end, Lin Ling also agreed to follow Xiao Yu along with Sakura. Next, Lin Ling brought Li Hongwang and the others and left the spirit state. Looking at Lin Ling's departure, Yu Yu and the others were very worried. This was because Li Hongwang had once said that if they could destroy the gods, then the great calamity would come. They would have to face the pursuit of Luli Empress. At that time, the God-Slayer Alliance could only flee. Therefore, everyone hoped that Lin Ling could escape this great calamity. However, they did not stop Lin Ling from going because they knew that this was Lin Ling's lifelong wish. In fact, this was not only Lin Ling's lifelong wish, but also Li Xiaoyao's wish. If Lin Ling did not take revenge for the 3 members of the Tian family, he would not be able to rest in peace. Therefore, the destruction of the gods was inevitable. Chapter 32:10. The Hidden God-Slayer Alliance. Because our God-Slayer Alliance is classified as a secret, the location of our base cannot be known by others. While Li Hongwang was moving forward, he waved out a large number of paper cranes. The paper cranes flew in the chaotic space and gradually disappeared. Lin Ling knew that these paper cranes could see what was happening within a range of 10 million miles. The reason why he used them was because he was afraid of being followed. It's fine for now. Let's set off immediately. Lin Ling, use your full strength. After a while, Li Hongwang said solemnly, and Lin Ling nodded. Let's go. Following a cry of surprise, Lin Ling and the rest ran wildly in the chaotic space with lightning speed. Lin Ling used the wind technique, and his speed reached 90 world speed. This made Li Hongwang and the rest secretly surprised. His speed was not inferior to theirs. Sakura was not good at speed, and he had a helpless look on his face. However, Li Hongwang hurriedly pulled him and ran wildly with him. Of course, using his full strength constantly consumed a lot of his world essence. Not long after, Li Hongwang and the rest were panting. When they looked at Lin Ling again, they realized that Lin Ling's expression was actually better than theirs. This guy is still a half-step saint? The two of them were surprised at the same time. How could they know that Lin Ling's wind technique was taught by Xiao Yu's grandfather? In terms of world essence consumption, it was naturally more economical than their methods. In addition, Lin Ling had 4 dantians. When one dantian was exhausted, the other dantian would be able to make up for it. Moreover, as he continued to use the wind technique, Lin Ling suddenly had a kind of enlightenment. His speed increased again, and he actually reached 120 world speed. This speed was even faster than Li Hongwang and the rest. This made them depressed and shout, "Freak!" Then, they took out precious heavenly materials and earthly treasures to let Lin Ling recover his realm essence. Unknowingly, 3 days later, an ancient continent appeared in front of them. Lin Ling's expression changed. Yuzhou. That's right, the base of the heavenly court. Li Hongwang and the rest looked at each other and laughed. Our God-Slayer alliance is right under the nose of the heavenly court. Ho Yenru said proudly. Amazing. The most dangerous place is also the safest place. I can't believe you guys thought of that. At this moment, Lin Ling had no choice but to be impressed. This was because they were under the watch of the heavenly court. If they were discovered, they would be wiped out in one fell swoop. The experts of the God-Slayer Alliance would not be able to stop Marshal God Qilin's massacre. However, it was also the reason why Marshal God Qilin did not expect the God Destruction Alliance to be right under his nose. You may leave. Then, Li Hongwang took out a large cloak and used a secret technique to hide his identity. Lin Ling, I'll teach you a secret technique. As long as no one is within 2 meters of you, even martial ancestors won't be able to detect your aura. On the other hand, Ho Yenru looked at Lin Ling. But as soon as she finished speaking, her expression changed drastically. Because Lin Ling was right in front of her, but she couldn't sense any aura from Lin Ling. Moreover, even if there was, it was a chaotic aura. Obviously, Lin Ling's concealment technique was better than theirs. You really don't look like a half-saint. Ho Yenru shook her head helplessly. Lin Ling smiled and passed the aura concealment technique to Sakura. This secret technique was something he had accidentally obtained in his previous life. It was suitable for half-saints and allowed one to change their appearance at will. Sakura thought it was fun and turned into an old man. As for Xiao Yu, she didn't need to change because no one recognized her. Yu Province, TSK, the Divine Prefecture is even bigger than the Spirit Province. We were in too much of a hurry to leave the Divine Dreamland last time. Today, we must take a good look at the Yu Province. Alright. After landing on the ground, Sakura looked around curiously. When Lin Ling was dismantling the Divine Boundary Array, Lin Ling had given him a lot of Nether Dragon-associated fluid. This had greatly increased his strength and allowed him to reach the 5th level of half-saint. Most importantly, his White Bones talent had a portion of the aura of a dragon. According to the estimation of his strength, Sakura was at the middle stage of the half-saint realm. He was invincible under the heavens. Yu Province is very big, but there are many people from the heavenly court here. For instance, Emperor Yu. I heard that he is very close to the heavenly court. Therefore, we must be careful. Li Hongwang whispered as they walked along the ancient street. Oh right, our God-slaying alliance has 3 leaders. You've already met one of them. As for the other 2, they should be rushing over right now. Ho Yenru also secretly transmitted her voice to Lin Ling. This made Lin Ling extremely curious. Who exactly was that person he had met? Before long, a huge imperial palace appeared in front of them. This imperial palace was like a pillar, dazzling in gold and jade, majestic and awe-inspiring. It reached all the way to the horizon and one couldn't see the end of it. This is Emperor Yu's calming divine palace. Li Hongwang immediately explained. His words caused Sakura's expression to change. The God-slaying alliance's base was actually within Emperor Yu's imperial palace. After that, Sakura couldn't help but laugh. The God-slaying alliance really had a good plan. This was suggested by one of the leaders. The son of the demon has also met that leader. Li Hongwang immediately laughed and he saw Sakura's expression. It seems that this leader is also a talent. Lin Ling and Sakura couldn't help but nod their heads in admiration. Before Li Hongwang arrived at the Divine Palace, he took out a token. Immediately, the guards at the gate of the Divine Palace opened up a path for them. These guards were all at the peak of the half-saint realm. From this, it could be seen that Yu province was indeed much more powerful than the Spirit province. After entering the palace, they didn't enter the main hall. Instead, they walked through the side halls. Before long, the sound of women laughing could be heard in front of them. When they got closer, they realized that this was simply a lake of wine and a forest of jade. This was because these women were very beautiful. They wore thin gauze and were playing around a young man. The young man was flirting with the beauties from time to time. He simply looked like a hedonistic young master. This is Emperor Yu's 97th prince. In Yu province, this prince is a person who doesn't practice martial arts and doesn't do proper work. Before they got closer, Li Hongwang explained and curiously stared at the beauties. However, he was quickly rewarded with a slap from Ho Yenru. Li Hongwang didn't dare to look anymore and quickly lowered his head. Seeing this, Lin Ling shook his head and smiled. However, his gaze was also fixed on the hedonistic young master. He discovered that although he looked hedonistic on the surface, there was a glimmer of light in the depths of his eyes. Obviously, this hedonistic prince was doing everything to hide it from outsiders. He obviously had a blood feud with the heavenly court. Yo, my playmates are here. Let's talk inside. The young man also saw Lin Ling and the others. He laughed loudly and swaggered over to greet them. Moreover, he led them into the hall. There were even more beauties in the hall. However, they only passed by the hall and quietly walked along the side corridor. When they looked back, they saw that Lin Ling and the others had already appeared in the hall. This was obviously an illusion. What a profound spirit formation technique. Lin Ling couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. This was set up by our other leader. The hedonistic prince also tore off his mask and became incomparably calm. Moreover, he curiously looked at Lin Ling and the others. Let's talk inside. It's not convenient to explain right now. Chapter 32:11. The Three Leaders. Li Hongwang walked along the corridor, and before long, a large number of doors appeared on both sides of the corridor. Li Hongwang took out a compass and calculated for a moment. Finally, he stopped at one of the doors and pushed it open. They're really cautious. If I didn't guess wrongly, these doors should be changing at any time. Sakura couldn't help but exclaim. That's right. If you enter the wrong door, you'll end up in hell. You'll die for sure. Li Hongwang immediately walked through the door. The world behind the door was filled with singing birds, fragrant flowers, green mountains, and clear water. It was a completely different world. Furthermore, there were several powerful auras hidden in the world. Not only were there martial saints, there were even a few martial progenitors. Li Hongwang, who are these people? The entrance of Lin Ling's group undoubtedly caused all the experts to become cautious. A large number of experts walked out from the Green Mountain. The person in the lead was actually at the First Heaven Saint realm. Most importantly, he was extremely young. People from the God Slayer Alliance. Li Hongwang said expressionlessly as he looked at the other party. What are you doing, casually bringing people in? Are you trying to break the rules? The young man uttered a furious roar as his aura was unleashed. Zhendong, don't mess around. You don't have the final say in the God Slayer Alliance. Seeing this, Li Hongwang also unleashed a powerful aura. Li Hongwang, safety first. These people haven't passed the test, how can you bring them in so easily? The others clearly didn't trust Lin Ling and the others. After all, the God Slayer Alliance's base was a matter of great importance. Therefore, they had no choice but to be cautious. Keep an eye on them and take out everything they have. The youth in the lead waved his hand and his gaze landed on Xiao Yu and Sakura because he knew that the more ordinary an existence was, the more likely they were spies of the celestial heavens. Whereas Sakura had transformed into an old man and Xiao Yu was a child. He didn't believe that there wasn't anything fishy about this combination. Under his gaze, there were immediately Saint Realm experts that attacked Sakura. Moreover, there were as many as 5 of them. This caused Sakura to be subdued in an instant. Motherfucker, you're courting death. Sakura also started cursing, but it was of no use. Zhendong, do you know what you're doing? Seeing this, Ho Yenru was furious. Safety first. However, the young man in the lead didn't care about that at all. He attacked Xiao Yu, and when he saw the rabbit and deer in Xiao Yu's hand, he was even more puzzled. Because he'd never seen anyone with a rabbit and a deer. Most importantly, this little girl didn't possess any strength at all. However, the more ordinary it was, the more suspicious it was. If you dare to touch her, believe it or not, I will kill you immediately. However, just as the youth was about to touch Xiao Yu, Lin Ling coldly spoke. This caused the young man to stop moving. He calmly looked at Lin Ling and then smiled. I don't believe it. As soon as he finished speaking, his hand reached out towards Xiao Yu. Furthermore, he grabbed the little white rabbit in Xiao Yu's hand as if he wanted to investigate something. Zhendong, stop. However, when he lowered his head to investigate, someone stopped him. He saw that on top of a green mountain in front of him, a man had his hands behind his back and was looking indifferently at the ground. The leader of the Tomb Raiders. Looking at that person, everyone's expression changed greatly. That man's strength was not weak. He was actually at the peak of the saint stage. If you dare to attack again, that person will shoot an arrow at you. However, that man ignored everyone's gazes and continued to speak. This caused the young man called Zhendong to be unable to help but raise his head to look over. Only now did he notice that a 5-meter-long enormous bow had suddenly appeared in Lin Ling's hand, and the divine arrow that seemed like a dragon god was even aimed at Zhendong. It was a sign that if he continued to act recklessly, he would be killed with a single arrow. You! Zhendong instantly shouted angrily. He didn't expect a junior at the 5th stage of the half-saint realm to be so arrogant. However, he could also sense that the bow was extremely extraordinary. Let go of the rabbit. At the same time, the man on top of the green mountain calmly spoke. In the end, Zhendong reluctantly released the little rabbit. Son of the devil, why have you come to our God Extermination Alliance? The man on the green mountain clearly recognized Lin Ling. Son of the devil. The surrounding people were instantly shocked. Naturally, they had heard of the son of the devil. It could be said that there were many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the 9 prefectures. There were many experts who couldn't be underestimated, and the son of the devil was one of them. However, Lin Ling didn't say a word. He stepped forward and actually walked toward Zhendong. What are you trying to do? Zhendong also saw Lin Ling's actions and frowned. However, he didn't attack because he believed that the son of the devil wouldn't dare to be arrogant in this place. Bang! However, Lin Ling instantly attacked. The power of 600 worlds erupted and his 4 dantians merged. His palm was like a dragon's claw and suddenly grabbed Zhendong's neck. This action shocked everyone. Even Li Hongwang and the others were shocked. As for Zhendong, after Lin Ling grabbed his neck, he immediately realized that he couldn't resist. Although he was at the first stage of the Saint stage, his strength wasn't enough to defeat Lin Ling. On the contrary, he was instantly subdued by Lin Ling and lost his ability to fight. Son of the devil, do you know what you're doing? If you dare to touch her, we can guarantee that you won't be able to leave this place. After being stunned for a moment, the experts in the surroundings shouted angrily. Come on, kill me. Zhendong roared as well. However, the man on the Green Mountain's expression changed slightly, and he immediately said, stop. Because he could see that Lin Ling really dared to kill him. I've said it before. If you touch even a hair on Xiao Yu's head, then you'll die. However, Lin Ling turned a blind eye and continued to look coldly at Zhendong. His eyes were filled with killing intent, and it finally caused Zhendong to break out in a cold sweat. How about you give me some face? At the same time, the man on the Green Mountain floated down. Who do you think you are? Why should I give you face? However, Lin Ling didn't even look at him as he spoke. His words caused the man to be furious. A junior at the half-saint stage actually dared to speak to him, an expert at the peak of the saint stage? Could it be that the son of the devil intends to die here? Strands of cold energy effused out from his body. Ha ha ha. Interesting. Truly interesting. Zhendong, apologize right now. However, right when the man was about to attack, a carefree voice resounded through the boundless Green Mountain, and it caused a large amount of echoes. The expressions of the others instantly changed. Another leader had arrived. Zhendong, apologize right now. Do you know who you've offended? He's a madman. There's nothing in the 9 prefectures that he doesn't dare to do. However, the person who'd arrived spoke once more, and his voice carried dense majesty. Leader. Zhendong was naturally extremely unwilling to accept this. Listen to him. Otherwise, if you die, then you'll have died for nothing. At the same time, another clear and melodious voice resounded. To everyone's surprise, it was a woman who'd spoken this time. However, their expressions changed drastically because this woman was one of the 3 leaders. Chapter 32:12. Join the God-slaying alliance. Moreover, the son of the demon wasn't a member of the God-slaying alliance. On the other hand, Zhendong was a member of the God-slaying alliance. Yet, both leaders were speaking up for the son of the demon. This caused everyone to have some speculations. I'm sorry, I was reckless before. At this time, Zhendong had no choice but to speak. Lin Ling also let go of his neck. He lightly said, apologize to her, and also apologize to the rabbit. This. Hearing this, Zhendong's face filled with anger. Apologizing to the little girl was one thing, but this bastard actually apologized to the rabbit. What was a rabbit? Involuntarily, he hurriedly looked behind him, only to see the man from before nodding at him. This made him gloomily apologize. Looking at his waist, he said in a sobbing tone, Senior Rabbit, I'm sorry. I was reckless before. Please don't take it to heart. As these words came out, everyone nearly laughed out loud. But because the leaders were here, they all restrained themselves. As for the little white rabbit, it jumped up and down. It didn't even look at Zhendong and instead pooped on the ground. This caused Zhendong's eyes to wildly twitch. He was so angry that he wanted to die. At the same time, two figures appeared in the distance. They brought a large number of people with them as they slowly walked over. These two people came from two different directions. This meant that there was another way out of this paradise. Clearly, this was also a way out. And one of them was someone that Lin Ling recognized. He couldn't help but be surprised. This was because he was the monster young master. As for the other woman, Lin Ling had also seen her before in the divine dreamland. She was the descendant of Miao School's true inheritance, Overnight Snow. They were actually one of the two leaders and also enemies of the heavenly court. This result left Lin Ling extremely surprised. Everyone, there is no need to panic. He is one of us. His name is the son of the demon. I'm sure everyone has heard of his name. The monster young master smiled as he walked over. His hands were behind his back and his long hair was casually tied behind his head. Although he appeared calm and relaxed, every movement of his was filled with the elegance of a powerhouse. Everyone present wasn't weak. But as they looked at the monster young master, their eyes were filled with awe. It was obvious that young Master Yao's prestige in the God Slayer Alliance was not low. Young Master Yao, he hasn't passed the test yet. It doesn't seem right for him to join the alliance so rashly. Majin Tianzi, who was also one of the leaders, said with a smile. There's no need for that. I trust him. Young Master Yao replied with a smile. Although his words were polite, they carried an unquestionable authority. Although Majin Tianzi was still smiling, there was a hint of displeasure in his eyes. He was one of the leaders, but young Master Yao seemed to think that he was the number one leader. Leader of the Tomb Raiders, I understand what you're trying to say. The rules of the trial are for the sake of everyone's safety, to prevent spies from coming in and harming everyone. However, the son of the demon doesn't need to take the trial. He almost killed martial god Qilin because of the god-slaying formation. At this moment, the beautiful Ye Shui also spoke. Her words also supported Lin Ling. Hearing her words, everyone's eyes flashed. Only now did they remember the real event that made the son of demon famous in the 9 provinces. That's right, it was the gods of destruction. Could it be? Then, everyone looked at the son of the demon in disbelief. That's right. This is also the reason why we invited him. We wanted to borrow the son of the demon's formation to kill martial god Qilin. At almost the same time, Ye Shui spoke word by word. Could it be that there really is a god-slaying formation? An old man looked at Ye Shui in disbelief. Perhaps to him, all of this was too surreal. His spirit formation Tao is even more powerful than mine. Ye Shui was still staring at Lin Ling as she spoke word by word. After receiving her affirmation, the way everyone looked at Lin Ling changed. After all, although the son of the demon was famous, which of the people present didn't have an illustrious reputation? On the other hand, if the son of the demon possessed the power to slay gods, then his position in the God Slayer Alliance would definitely not be light. The reason why they, the God Slayer Alliance, were together was because they wanted to slay gods. The heavenly court was spread throughout the 9 provinces. Moreover, they would often forcefully plunder the geniuses of the 9 provinces. Because of that, they had offended many experts in the 9 provinces. As for them, they were one of them. Please forgive us for offending you earlier. Zhendong looked at Lin Ling and hurriedly bowed. Although he was still brooding over what had happened earlier, after knowing Lin Ling's strength, he was willing to do it. Because, for the sake of revenge, he had waited for almost 1,000 years. One after another, the others followed suit and bowed to Lin Ling. Even Emperor Touch Gold did the same. I'm sorry. I underestimated you earlier. It's fine. Everyone was just being cautious. Everyone sincerely apologized. As for Lin Ling, he wasn't a petty person. Naturally, he smiled and waved his hand. When Li Hongwang and the others saw this scene, they all laughed. They already knew that when Lin Ling's strength was announced, how everyone would treat the son of the demon. Today, our God Slayer Alliance also has a fierce general. Everyone, let's welcome him. The young Beast Lord was the first to speak, causing the crowd to cheer loudly. Then, everyone welcomed Lin Ling forward and brought him to a small pavilion. Outside the pavilion, there were many tables. Everyone sat down and started drinking. As for Lin Ling, he was welcomed into the pavilion to drink with the 3 leaders. Furthermore, this was the best treatment, as even martial progenitor realm experts were only allowed to drink outside the gazebo. Son of the demon, when I saw you in the ancient forbidden forest previously, you were indeed extraordinary. You actually swept away all the major forces. Even I admire you. Young Beast Lord raised his wine cup and waved it at Lin Ling. However, you secretly joined my force and stole many good things. You used me as a tool. You are the first person in the 9 prefectures to do so. Hearing this, the surrounding people were shocked once again. Lin Ling also noticed that although young Beast Lord seemed to be complaining, he actually didn't care. He smiled and said, "At that time, I had no choice. I hope young Beast Lord doesn't mind. Let bygones be bygones. Now, we are in the same boat." Young Beast Lord really didn't mind. He looked outside the pavilion and said, "Come, let me introduce you. This is Yu State's #1 Saint Stage Genius, Yi Linyun. This is Senior Tsang Xian, a martial ancestor." Young Beast Lord introduced the experts in the God Slayer Alliance one by one. One had to admit that the God Slayer Alliance was really powerful. They were hundreds of times more powerful than the experts in the spirit state. However, Lin Ling could also see that young Beast Lord had spent a lot of effort to gather this group of people. This is Majin Tianzi from the Yen state. He is from the Tin Ghost tribe. Their tribe has very few people, but they specialize in the great tomb of the gods and demons. They have a way to break through any dangerous place and reach the heart of the tomb. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.